Welcome to Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11.
And welcome into Home Track Heroes here on CW11 for part 2 of the Summer Showdown. And that means super late models on the 5/8 for 200 laps. Caleb Harden here in the booth with me. I'm Kyler Hope. And man, we got an exciting show ahead of us.
Buckle in, settle down, grab yourself your favorite ice cold beverage. We have some suggestions for you, but we'll bring that up a little bit later in the program. And get ready because this one's going to be fun. We've got 3 classes of action to get to before we get to the highlight of our year, the $25,000 to win. Super late model 200 lapper, the Summer Showdown itself, and excited for it. As good as our Pro Late Model 100 is, they've certainly set a bar that's going to be really hard to top.
Oh yeah, definitely. 5/8 racing is always so much fun here at Evergreen Speedway, and I've got a strong field of super late models set to take the track here in a little bit. But first, we got the Tri-State Mini Stock Tour coming to town for their one and only race here at Evergreen Speedway. So the out-of-towners is not a BECU Mini Stock points race; it's a Tri-State points race. But you're going to see some familiar names in there. As some of our local guys are going to be going up against the out-of-towners, and it's going to be a battle of the out-of-towners versus the home track guys for the title.
We had a bit of an upset on last week's show as somebody finally beat Lane Sunholm. Let's see if he can come back and get this one and put her away. Let's introduce you to your lineup for this 40-lapper around the 3/8.
Yeah, right up there on the front row. That is the guy who calls Evergreen Speedway his home track. That's Ken Legault in the 22, sponsored by Serve Quick Process Service. And his outside, the highest starting out-of-town, that's the 88 of Ryan McLeod.
Row number 2, it's the 22X. That's Armando Gomez. And next to him, the 23 of Travis Barnes.
Then we see the 18 of Lane Sunholm, sponsored by Monroe Fish and Chips. They got that car and motor back together and ready to do action here on the second day of the Summer Showdown, and looking for a little bit of redemption against the 96 of Casey Garber, who took home the title last week.
That's right. Row number 4, Ronnie Absher, U.S. Seafood sponsors the 72 car. Outside, row number 4, it's the 8 of Josh McMillan. Brought to you by Josh's Discount Christmas Lights. They know how to get you lit on Christmas.
In the next row, we got the 7 of Cassidy Sunholm, sponsored by J2 Racing and John Haynes. And to her outside, that's the 221 of Lyndon Smith, sponsored by PRCBD.com.
Gavin Ballew's in the 12. J2 Racing sponsors him. 24 of Eric Kelly, Tom's Automotive, the sponsor.
Then we got the 27 of Jason Ingbong, sponsored by Erickson Real Estate. And the 07 of Damon Claiborne hopping in the Zach Bristol machine, sponsored by Gourmet Latte. And green flag is out as 32 of Jace Garner having some issues trying to get the car fired up, so he's actually not taking in the field. As we got some action early on. Armando Gomez trying to take over that second spot from Travis Barnes, as the 88 of Ryan McLeod is getting shuffled back early, as it's a tight battle for second, but up front it's going to be Ken Legault leading now lap number 1.
Barnes was really solid in last week's performance, and seeing if he can build on that and move forward. Working to the outside of Legault with Sunholm tucked in on the inside and trying to move forward and set the early pace here. Legault's got the lead. Barnes chasing him in the middle of the groove, coming off of 4 as they complete the second lap. Long run, 10 extra laps from what we're used to, so as part of the deal in the showdown, there goes Lane.
Exactly, yeah, you mentioned it's going to be a little bit longer race. Maybe drivers be a little more patient than normal, but Lane's going to take him 3 wide in the corner, and now it's him and the 23 at Travis Barnes battling side by side for that race lead. It was, like you mentioned, 38 laps to go, so a little bit of extra time for these drivers. 23 of Barnes are there getting a little sideways, and that's going to allow Lane Sunholm to take over the race lead here early in that 18 machine, and bringing Casey Garber along with him.
No reason to hold back when the door opens up like that, and Sunholm in the perfect position to capitalize. I'm sure looking for a little bit of redemption is, again, Mechanical DNF on last week's feature here on Home Track Heroes. Right now, a couple car length lead over Barnes, and Barnes getting massive pressure from Garber as you get a look at the speed shot.
Exactly, yeah, there goes Garber off of turn number 2, getting to the inside of Barnes with a great run down into turn number 3 and trying to move that 96 car up into second place and not let Lane Sunholm get too much of an advantage here early on.
Side by side down the line for second. Garber on the inside. That is the black and orange 96. He's got the advantage coming out of corner number 2. And with the 23 of Barnes theoretically going into his rearview mirror here shortly, he will give chase to Sunholm and try to not let him get too far away. Now, we had seen this last week. It had happened. Garber had worked his way up into second. Sunholm was out in front when Sunholm's car did not continue functioning. So the question is now, Garber, one of the stars of the outsiders who's coming in, can he run Lane down, or does he need a little luck once again to do it?
Yeah, exactly. He was able to clear Travis Barnes and now starting to put a little bit of a gap between him and the 23. And now he just has set his sights on running some nice, smooth, clean laps and try to hunt down that 18. Maybe pick a line that works a little bit better for his car and figure out something to try to do with that 18 car, because Lane Sunholm was obviously very strong here at Evergreen Speedway, being his home track. It's a tall and tough task to try to hunt down that machine.
He's been near unbeatable here on the season, so Sunholm out in front. In fact, basically the only things that have stopped him is the mechanical DNF that he had and one DQ a little bit early in the year. Otherwise, he has been the guy who has won the races, taken home the big trophy and the big check. So we're going to flash back a little ways in the field. We got racing a little bit deeper in on the program.
Yep, there is Josh McMillan looking to the outside pole sitter of Ryan McLeod. They're going to bump a little bit going through turns 3 and 4, and that's going to allow the 88 to pull out a little bit. Josh not pushing the issue too much right now, as he knows he's a little bit long of a race, so going to regroup himself and try to get back to the door of that 88 car of Ryan McLeod as they go down the back straightaway. I believe this is a battle just inside the top 5, around the 5th position, as they have Armando Gomez sitting up right in front of them as well. So it's a good race for some of the out-towners, really holding strong up there. They have every single spot inside the top 5 or top 6 outside of Lane Sunholm, who leads the race.
It's interesting, too. We're missing a couple of the locals here from this week's show, as normally you've got the 26th of Jimmy Absher, and we do not see Absher for the performance here. We've been missing Nat Barber for a little while as well, so those two cars would almost assuredly be trying to play a factor here in the top 5 as you look at that battle for 5th. And moving forward, it is McMillan's 8.
Yep, he was able to get a good run, get to the inside, and then you saw Ryan give a nice little bump of him off of turn number 4, and Josh got a little sideways, was able to keep the car underneath him and move into that 5th position. Like you mentioned, yeah, Nat Barber has been absent as of recent, going through some life changes, making a move over to the east side of the state. Plans to come back and still race every now and then, but it's been a heavy task for him moving across the state and moving jobs and whatnot. So
hey, gas is expensive getting over the mountains and back.
Yeah, so we wish Nat the best in his life-changing measures moving forward, but definitely miss seeing that 97 car out here at Evergreen Speedway on a weekly basis.
Fast and consistent, too, with Nat, so he would definitely be up there giving him a run as you're watching, once again, the 18 of Lane Sunholm putting Jaden Kelly a lap down, Eric Kelly on this one, so it's Eric in the car, not Jaden.
Exactly, yeah, a couple other driver changes like Jason Ingbaum hopping behind the wheel of Tiffany Ingbaum's number 27 machine, so it's cool seeing them move around, get some different drivers in behind the car and whatnot. We look at the 22 of Ken Legault, who was your pole sitter, sitting in 7th position right now, trying to hold off Lyndon Smith. So a couple of our local guys battling just outside the top 5 as we have 25 laps to go still.
There's a couple of ideas in and behind that. Number one, and this was a hot day, right? It is very taxing out there, and especially off of the previous program. You know, fatigue is definitely a concern going on a 40-lap race. Number 2, a driver like Damon Claiborne, who helps Zach Bristol out quite a bit. They both help each other out quite a bit when necessary. Reward them for the little bit extra they gave. And third, it's good to get a different perspective on your race car sometimes. You could drive the car so much and be so patterned with it and knowing what you like in the setup that it's hard to see the forest for the trees. Put another driver in that who comes from maybe a different way to look at it, a different skill set, maybe a different point of view, jumps in the car and goes, all right, Zach, what if we did a little bit here, like on the right front, change a spring, maybe change like an A-arm length or something like that. What do you think that would do? I don't know. Let's give it a try. Go out, take it off. Wow, that actually improved it.
Exactly.
Gives you something to gain on for the next time that you come out and drive the program itself. And frankly, as much as these drivers run, as our mini stocks are out here at minimum every other week on our Evergreen Speedway program, you got a lot of seat time to figure that out with.
Exactly, yeah. And having someone like Damon Claiborne, who is very familiar with four-cylinder stuff, not necessarily mini stocks, but he races a ton of Hornets, Stingers. He's been around a while and definitely knows how to wheel a car. It always helps having that little bit extra, different outsider perspective come in and change things up a bit. And the 07 car has been under heart surgery for a while, trying to get the right power plant on that. And so Damon has been a key factor in helping Zach Bristol get that car up and running. And it was definitely Zach rewarding Damon to, hey, here's a little thank you for all your hard work. You know, let's help each other out. And goes both ways. And now Zach's getting some extra outside perspective to move help make the car better.
Taking a look at once again in 5th place, McMillan in the 8 car and the 88 of McLeod as they go after it. In and amongst, I think, Engbaum's slower traffic at this point in time. So working their way through as Engbaum a little bit squirrely. If you took a guy like Sunholm, who we've seen much times, big drift out, and that's going to cost him a spot. And we'll get back to that thought a little bit later. We got a lot more race here still to go and a lot to cover as, unfortunately, McMillan drifts it backwards and loses the position.
Yeah, it looks like he's fighting some handling issues on that 8 car here late in this run. I mean, it's been a 22 green flag laps, but you're not going to want to miss the end of it. Come back and watch it right here on CW11, the thrilling conclusion of the mini stock Welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on CW11 as we have 5 laps to go in the Tri-State Mini Stock Tour main event here from Evergreen Speedway on Summer Showdown weekend, presented by Tire Pros. Kyler Hope, Caleb Hart up here in the booth for you guys as Lane Sunholm doing what he does best, showing his way around Evergreen Speedway, and he's been up there from the start pretty much. I think he took the lead on lap 2 or 3 and really hasn't looked back.
It's just easy like Sunday morning for Lane at this point in time. He's cruising, he's out and about, heck, got the phone out, looking at Pinterest recipes, doing something. 3 to go for Sunholm, and like I said, he has been unchallenged. No one has gotten close. Traffic is sequenced out nicely for him. A couple more cars put a lap down, and call her good.
Exactly, yeah. Casey Garber still sits in second place, and while we're gone, Armando Gomez moved into the 3rd spot around Travis Barnes. So Armando looking to hang on to that 3rd and final podium spot as Lane Sunholm works his way on the inside of Gavin Blue and now looks to the outside of Eric Kelly, just trying to keep the car clean. And I mean, that's one thing he's definitely had to do the entire race, because with 40 laps, you definitely have a lot of lap cars you're going to go through and have to negotiate your way through. And we've seen that become an issue for some drivers in the past, but white flag is out for Lane Sunholm. Just has to make it around 4 more times.
Yeah,
or 4 more corners.
As much of an advantage as he has, he was under no pressure to get by them right away. He could take his time, pace them, watch them, see what they were doing, and then just plink up on by, as it's going to be a good win, a nice redeeming win for Lane Sunholm as he takes the checkered flag, and he will win this one over the Northwest Mini Stock Tour.
Exactly, yep. Then here comes Casey Garber. So you saw about a half lap lead for Lane Sunholm. And then Armando Gomez right there on the 22X. He was making a good run there. Maybe a few more laps, he might have been able to catch Casey. Who knows? So great run for him there, as well as the rest of the field working their way on through, down across the start-finish line. There you see some of the super late models to the right-hand side of your screen, tarped up, waiting for their 200 laps later on tonight. We'll head on down to the Angel of the Winds platform and talk to your top 3 from the Tri-State Mini Stock Tour main events.
First things first, welcome back.
Thank you.
Had some trouble yesterday. Was it stressful getting the car ready for today after the incident last night?
It was a little stressful. We had to change a motor. That was not easy. That's why he's up here. I'm going to give him this.
And who is this up here with you tonight?
This is little mini Kessler, Devin Kessler. He helped me all day yesterday. He's leaving for North Carolina next week, and this is for him.
All right.
No?
Have anyone else you'd like to thank for tonight's performance?
Yeah, J&R Truck Rentals, Lang Auto, FMR, Grandpa for the motors. One failed, but one worked. And Monroe Fish and Chips, Mark Whedon Insurance. That's about it.
Second place tonight, first place last night. Chasing down Lane Sunholm, what's that like?
Yeah, I wasn't really trying to chase him. I was kind of nursing overheating problems, so motor's definitely going to come out, but I was blowing water from lap 1, so glad to come home with the second, made it, and that last restart was a little hairy. Don't really like leaving lap cars in there. Could have tore up about 3 good race cars there, so pretty dumb.
All right. Number 96 Machine did pretty well tonight. What was the secret to taking it around from your perspective?
Oh, well, today was a little better. We got 2 new rides, so it was definitely better than it was yesterday. But then as soon as I noticed the water problem, that's why I took it so easy in the heat there. So glad to at least finish, and we'll go home and do some work, and we'll be back.
Have anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
Yeah, I want to thank Jason Majors, Northwestern Integrity Builders, Vicky Smith, who else? Craig's Auto and RV, Chad Holiday, Garber's Garage, my grandparents, Travis Barnes, and Kyle and Robert and all those guys. And it's a team effort from the whole mini stock tour group, so it's pretty awesome.
There you go. Third place tonight. Had a great finish last night, too. What was the secret to conquering Evergreen Speedway?
No secret, man. It's a hard track, tricky track, great track. It's my first time here. So first day I used as a practice day, and we got the car all tuned in and turned out great. Couldn't ask for more.
So this is your first time here. Does that mean you're intending to come back?
Oh yes, I will be back in the near future.
Have anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
My lovely wife, Tristan. She's a big part in making this happen. My brothers. My brothers, Andre and Halada Gomez, are huge pit help. They check tires, all that stuff. Great people. But most importantly, my grandfather, Rick Schultz. If it wasn't for him, this would be impossible.
Awesome seeing some new faces up there on the Angel of the Winds platform. Some guys that we don't see run here all year long. They obviously are some from the east side of the state running here with us. But now we're going to move on to the Legend main event. But first, we got a highlight from the B main. And sometimes highlights are good, sometimes they're bad. And this one is definitely a scary one for the 37 of Mason Nelson. He's that car on the left side of your screen, that white one. Keep an eye on him. He's going to get a little bit loose in the corner. It was a hot day. Track was slippery and it gets hit hard there. And then once again right there. And obviously he busted a fuel line or oil line and causing a really scary wreck. But thankfully for the EMS staff at Evergreen Speedway, they got there quickly, got there on the scene. Mason was all right, but this is a scary view to say the least.
All right, so from the in-car, you can see there's the tag, and there starts the fire. So Nelson quickly getting things shut off as best he can, gets the steering wheel off, and that's why you practice getting in and out of the cars as quickly as you can. You can see Nelson getting out of that thing as quickly as he possibly can, and good to see that he got out. No further harm done.
Yeah, I think Dave Patel was one of the first guys on scene there, putting out the fire, helping him get out of the car. So the huge thank you to the Cascade Push Truck Association and all the EMS crew here at Evergreen Speedway. And yeah, you never know when it's going to happen to you, but you always got to know how quickly to get your belts off, all the exits you can. And definitely a scary moment right there. Glad Mason's all right, because it's definitely a scary moment for
practice
sure.
It. Really,
exactly,
that should be something that is practiced, is getting out of the car quickly, especially in incidents like that. So let's go to your field here for the Legend A main event. They're going to go 30 around the 3/8 mile, and on the pole it's Jordan Holloway. Car number 12 next to Jordan, it's going to be the 88K of Kellen Dean.
Next row, we see the 32 of Nick Carey, and starting fourth on the field, that's the 25 of Brandon Cole.
Row number 3 is the 88 of Cody Brown. Next to him, the very fast Levy Jones, car number 92.
Then we see the 36 of Robert Clark, and his outside, that's the 3 of Parker Helfel.
Our fifth row is Kyle Lang in 33, J2 Racing Parts car. Next to him, Travis Bliven in the 27.
Then we have the winner from a few weeks ago, that is Dylan Wolf in the 43, starting 11th, and to his outside, that's a 16 of Allie Mae Jones.
Row number 7, TJ Roberts driving the 24, John Zaretsky, the Kent Collision Center, number 98.
Then we see the 30B of Braden Wager, sponsored by Dirt Cheap Sewer, and his outside, that's a 10 of Chris Thompson, sponsored by LB Motorsports.
It's the Mazda of Everett, number 08 of Greg Scott, and the 11M of Rick McNeil, sponsored by Optimus Construction in the row behind them.
And the 19th and 20th on the field, that's the 69 of Andrew Reel, and to his outside, the 11C, the Mazda of Everett car of Chad Sinner.
This race, brought to you by All City Fence, locally owned and operated since 1953. All City Fence, now serving Snohomish County. For your free, no obligation estimate, visit allcityfence.com. As
we get set for the Legends main event now, 30 times around for their second race on the weekend. And a lot of out-of-towners here. So we get ready for the second race of the Summer Showdown weekend for them. Jordan Holloway, Brandon Cole up there. A lot of out-of-towners really leading the field. I mean, first 6 names we listed off were all out-of-towners. So it's definitely going to mix up the points as well.
Well, we'll see, because the points race coming into this was very, very close. In fact, Kyle Long and Chad Sinner with a wicked battle. Long just a few points ahead, Carl Lang, my apologies, a few points ahead, and benefit of the higher up starting position in this main as we go green.
Yeah, Chad Sinner had to race his way through the B main, actually the one we just saw with Mason Nelson, that fiery wreck. So Chad Sinner really having to put in work. He's going to be fatigued, and it's a hot day, but he's already making some moves back there. That's that green car way in the back, but up front, it is the 12 car of Jordan Holloway leading the way with Brandon Cole right behind him, and then Levy Jones, who won the first main event. So definitely going to have to keep an eye on that all-white number 92.
Yeah, Levy's in really good position early in this feature with a long bit of racing still to go. Up in front, Holloway set the pace, single file. Don't see a whole lot of them pulling out of line until you're about, all the way deep in the field.
Yeah, exactly. Some great racing. And then also that 88 of Cody Brown, the car sitting fourth in line, the black with the green on the side. He was really, really strong towards the end of the first main event that they had on the weekend. So definitely going to keep an eye on him, as he has showed a lot of speed and showed how he's able to preserve the car, preserve the tires on a hot, slick track like this, because it is definitely some different conditions than what we've seen all year long here.
We keep saying the warmest race day of the year, and that really does play an effect on how much grip you can get onto the surface, and it's even a little bit different in that small shaded area. I mean, there's a difference of 10 degrees between where the overhang of the grandstands is shading that racetrack and not. Cole's been doing a good job holding up the car in behind him, Levy Jones. Jones keeps trying to find his way around, but it's Cole running the good line and really hanging tough. Right there you see as they get into that cool portion of it, Jones taking full advantage, making the dip dive down, and he's got second.
Yep, and car goes around Travis Blivens. He was running pretty high up there, gets it fired back up, and gonna decide to park it there. As I think he's going to bait out a yellow flag is what it looks like. And, yep, yellow flag comes out, and car miraculously fires back up.
You know, I've seen in a lot of places where guys who end up doing that get penalized, and it's something the tracks across the country are saying, hey, if you intentionally bring out a caution when your car is running and can rejoin up at the front, it's not going to be you rejoin at the back of the field. It's going to be you get black flagged and sent to the pits for stopping this race.
Yeah, and it's all by himself, too. No contact, as you see on that replay. So, unfortunate break there for the rest of the field. There's some great racing up front, but 27 Travis Blivens will be at the back of the field, and I'm sure getting an earful from race control because it sucks when one driver brings up the caution for the field like that on a self mistake. But back up front, green flag is out. 25 laps to go on a huge jump for Holloway there in the 12 machine. Getting a good jump. Going to bring Levy Jones with him around Brandon Cole. So now Levy Jones up to second place and looking for the race lead here, but he knows he has some time, but can't waste too much of it with so many strong cars in and behind him.
Some guys are much more comfortable chasing, and some are much more comfortable out in front and making everybody run down you, and that's what it looks like Levy Jones is choosing to do. Into the inside, he took the top spot, but a nice rebound. Holloway coming back after him on the bottom in turn number 3.
Yeah, great crossover move from the 12. Going to get the inside, the preferred line. See if he's able to get the power down as Levy's trying to pinch him down, but not doing anything too dirty. Some great racing here between your top two, and insert Brandon Cole into the picture as well in that 25. And the highest running local guy, you'll see him on the right side of your screen, Kyle Lang in the 33. He's bringing Braden Wager up here with him, and Braden started way deep, 15th starting position, and he's looking to try to get inside the top 5 right now. He's in 7th.
Those two quarter midget graduates certainly coming up and through the field and trying to work their way forward as they're hunting a top 5, maybe a top 3. A lot of race to go, and it's Levy Jones controlling the pace. When we come back, we're going to have the final few laps here of the Legend A main event. That's coming up next here on Home Track Heroes on the CW11. As we return to action here on CW11 for Home Track Heroes, Caleb Hart, Kyler Hope with you, and, well, it's not the battle for the lead, but it is a good battle out there as running for third right now. Brandon Cole gets a love tap from in and behind, and that should be Brown sneaking underneath him, taking over the final podium spot.
Exactly, yeah. Cody Brown moving his way into third place and bringing the 3-car Parker Heffel with him. Braden Wager right there trying to work his way in. Still just outside of the top 5, but still working his way forward. Highest running local driver that we got in the field, and he's showing the way. He's, I think, also the youngest driver we have in the field as well.
Pretty accurate, yeah. Wager got past Lang during that commercial break. Lang, your points leader coming into this, post the heat races on the day, as you see Levy Jones flashing in front of the screen with all kinds of speed and comfortably leading this down to 12 laps to go.
Exactly, yeah. Levy Jones doing a great job. Won the first main event on the weekend, looking to go 2 for 2 as we flash back to see Chad Sinner, who also has gone around Kyle Lang. So Kyle Lang falling off quite a bit in that 33 car. So it makes up the points just a little bit if Chad's able to finish in front of Kyle here. So definitely something to keep an eye on as we move forward in the Legends this year, as it's a pretty tight points battle between last year's Rookie of the Year of Kyle Lang and the 3-time defending champion, as we got the 24 car around. That looks like it's TJ Roberts trying to stay green flag action right here. He's in a little bit of an awkward safe spot for now.
He's tucked in pretty well there. He's got the protection of a Uke tire coming in.
He's got a NASCAR official right there helping him out. Looks like it's John Peterson actually trying to help out, get the guy back going, find a gap for him on re-entry, and
there he goes.
Yeah, TJ Robertson able to rejoin the field, gets underneath. And
there's your leader,
the race leader Levy Jones getting by him. So good job there to not bring out the caution, get the car in a safe spot, get it fired back up, and we stay green flag racing.
So you're watching Sinner, and Sinner's in 10th after starting in 20th. At this point, he's passed a lot of race cars with 9 to go, 8 to go, and still a chance to advance on the field. And again, the real big ticket item for him is to get around Lang.
Exactly.
If he gets around Lang, then it's the points that he needs to come out of this weekend and still really be in the hunt coming after it. If Lang can advance and Sinner gets stuck, there's a bunch of points left on the table that's going to help Lang towards being maybe the first guy to knock Chad Sinner off the top of the mountain as far as the points chase goes.
Exactly, yeah. This segment is brought to you by Bardal. Bardal Manufacturing, located in Seattle, is a world leader in automotive lubricants with oils, additives, and lubricants for your car, truck, boat, or motorized toy. Pick the brand racers around the world rely on. That's Bardal. Celebrating over 82 years in business and operating in 90 countries, make Bardal your brand. as we get a good look at the field there. And Kyle Lang actually sits 12th right now, so 2-spot advantage for Chad Sinner in that points race. So that it's a really tight points race. Those 2 spots could become big later on in the year.
They will. You know, this has been a really clean run, other than the one hiccup that we had with Levin earlier in the contest, and we haven't seen a ton of that out of the Legends. And especially as it gets late to go in this, it almost feels like we get a restart with somewhere under 4 laps left in this. Let's see if they can actually keep her clean and green coming into the very home stretch. The second place is up for grabs between Brown, who's chasing around Holloway in the 12, Brown in 88, and not done behind him, the 3 of Parker Heffel, who is putting together a sneaky strong run.
Exactly, yeah. And like I mentioned, Cody Brown in the first race, he was really strong late on and was able to preserve his tires and have a good long run setup. And it looks like he has the same thing again here in the race number 2 for the Legends, as he's going to look to the inside this time, trying to get around Jordan Holloway for that second spot on the podium. And here comes Heffel looking deep to the inside, and Heffel backs out of it. But still, I think the 3 car might have a little bit faster car than the 12 of Jordan Holloway, as you see how much in the entrance at the corner right there. And it looks like it'll be an easy pass for Heffel coming down the front straightaway. That 12 car handling has just gone away a lot throughout this race.
Rough for Holloway. He'd run a pretty good race up into this point in time, and shovels back a couple of spots at least as of right now. Still got a chance to come back as we're coming into the final lap. This has been the Levy Jones weekend at the Summer Showdown, and boy, the guys at Tire Pro is going to be awfully happy with him, as he's represented well for the Legends division here at the Tire Pros Summer Showdown. Been a good run.
Exactly, yeah. Levy Jones, he started in a Pro Late Model race a few weeks ago over in Montana, and is looking to hopefully move up in series. So maybe we'll see him come back in a late model next year during Summer Showdown, as he takes the win right there. Checkered flag is out for Levy Jones in the 92. 2 for 2 on the weekend. Cody Brown, then Parker Heffel, as we got a gaggle of cars battling back there. That was a great race, as looks like Chad Sinner might have gained a few points on Kyle Lang tonight.
Let's take a peek here. Officially credited with a 9th place finish according to our ticker, which the ticker is unofficial, we should mention. It is unofficial till validated. So 9th for him. Lang a little ways back from that in 11th, as we'll go down to the Angel of the Winds platform and talk to your top 3.
How are you? Welcome. You look kind of happy to get out of that car.
Yeah, I was getting hot there at the end, but it was a lot of fun for sure.
And in an incredible field, too. Well done.
Oh, yeah, these guys out here, out from Vegas, are just incredible. Me and my dad have worked really hard at this, and yeah, that's what put us here.
All right, talk about the people helping you out.
Well, obviously, got to thank the Lord up above. Couldn't do anything without him. So blessed for that. And got to thank my dad. He's always there. He just makes all this possible for me. Me and him are a really great team. We work together all the way through, getting the car up to this point. And Joe Ryan Race Cars, they're just amazing. Joe's helped us so much. Got to thank ilovethislife.org. They're super great anti-bullying foundation. Make sure to check them out. And DCH Hardwood Floors too. Got to thank them. And yeah, and my mom too. Got to thank her.
Had to have been, that was a great field, and you guys all put on a fun show.
Yeah, it was a very fun race. Actually, my first race here, so.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
And now you've got to come back and go one up, right? Talk about who's helping you.
Definitely my dad, Third Gen Racing, all my sponsors, Paul Johnson Drywall, Sherwin William, 24/7 Heating and Air, and Turn 2 Solutions.
I think you have another one of these. Congratulations, well done. Good fun race out there?
Yeah.
Yeah. And talk about the people helping you out.
Can't thank Payne Saxton enough, Jaron Giannini, everyone in the shop, giving me the ability to race, and that's about it.
Well, words from the world's most dangerous trackside announcer, Steve Moreland, as he gets your top 3 down on the Angel of the Winds platform. As we're going to move on. Street Stocks, the last piece of the program that we got to get in before we go to the 200-lap Super Late Model Summer Showdown Main. And here we go. Starting lineup for the Street Stocks.
The Ad Taxi number 69 machine of Austin Camp going to be showing them to the green flag. And his outside, that's a 22 of Kenny Erickson, sponsored by AFC Forestry.
Jim Fody inside row 2, car number 85. Next to him. Jeff Watson in the 51. Actually, looks like Watson might have moved down to the inside of row number 2. Watson in the Snohomish County Excavating number 51 car.
Then we got the 44 of Mike Marthal, sponsored by Direct Carpet Cleaning and House Cleaning. And his outside, that's the 88 of Ted Lindgren, sponsored by American Hair Image Replacement.
On the inside of row number 4, it is the 41 of Mark Hubbard. Hubbard in the Interstate Battery sponsored car. Outside of him, the Ox Chassis number 57, your points leader, Doug Poyer.
And then the guy who sits in second in points, that is the 3 of Jesse Jensen, sponsored by Dunstan & Bradley Industrial. And his outside, that's the 16 of Scott Perkins, sponsored by All About Transmission and Automotive.
The final row, the 03 of Blaine Fagerly. Stingray Auto Repair, his sponsor. Cheyenne Scale Company sponsors the 25 of Dave Lund.
So Davey Lund making his return to street stocks here in 2022. And that car was in pieces all of last year, and they finally got it put back together and going to have it out here and shaking it down as green flag is out for Austin Camp in the 69 with Jeff Watson right there behind him. And Jim Fody really pinching down the 51 of Watson as they come off at turn number 2 as they remain all side by side by side. Kenny Erickson really diving it deep into turn number 3.
You know, if you were going to give out a Division of the Year award just in terms of close and exciting racing, it would have to be the street stocks this year, as they are constantly side by side races coming down to the checkered flag in a lot of instances. Just look how long they've carried 2x2 here over the first couple of laps. 40 lap or 2 here on this contest, so this is going to be good.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, how many? I think this class probably has the most laps of side-by-side racing, especially inside the top 5, as it's 2x2x2x2, and I'm kind of keeping an eye on that Dave Lund and Jesse Jensen battles. They're really rubbing doors in the back of the pack. Just outside of your screen to the right, you see Dave Lund and Doug Poyer both go way off track. Poyer with a great save in that 57 machine as we got all of our heavy contenders in points away at the back of the pack trying to work their way forward. But Dave Lund really used up the 3 car that time by in turn number 3 and 4.
Oh, well, words out of your mouth, not mine, but at the same time, oofta.
Yeah, I think he used up a little bit more.
That was something. That was really something.
Not sure if there was maybe contact on the front straightaway that led to this and upset the 25 on entry, but
via the miracles of modern technology, we're going to get another look at this. Holy cow, that looked like something that was happening over SummerSlam weekend.
Yeah, so Dave Lund getting a little bit of a hit in there on the 3 car of Jesse Jensen as they go down, and a little bit of contact first on entry, and then it looks like the 25 just goes straight in the corner right there.
Turned straight right. Like steering wheel had to go right for that to happen.
Yeah, that looked like either something broke. If you want to give Dave Lund the benefit of the doubt, you could say something broke, something locked up in the steering wheel. It's a new car.
Okay.
Things can happen.
Yeah, it was in, quote, pieces.
Yeah.
Whoa.
But the steering seems to be working after the fact, miraculously.
Yeah,
so.
And, you know, there really wasn't a lot of lift.
Yeah.
You know, oh no, I'm into the guy. I should lift. Yeah. Well, you know, heat of the moment.
Black flag for Dave Lund. There you see him rejoining the end of the field after having a talk with our NASCAR officials.
What they do is say, hey, don't do that again.
It's his first race out. You can't really penalize him for reckless driving or continued reckless driving when it's his first race in the year.
One is random. 2 becomes a bit of a pattern.
Yeah, definitely have to keep an eye on that 25 because he's going to be restarted behind the 3 car as the green flag is back out 3 laps down. It's still Kenny Erickson and Austin Camp on the front row. Dave Lund, or not Dave Lund,
Ted
Lindgren. And the 88 is going to go 3 wide, split the doors open, and make it work. What a move. Ted wasting no time, and he's on the outside of Jeff Watson as they battle side by side for that second spot. What a move from the 88 right there in the restart.
That was a thing of beauty. I was kind of looking at the back, and all of a sudden, black and orange car right through the middle. It looked really good. Now Lindgren up to battle for the lead as Watson really digging hard in behind him, trying to make life difficult, but it is Lindgren working to the outside of Erickson, and boy, that race car humming along. We've seen Lindgren car fade on him a little bit in times, but man, early in this contest, he's looking solid.
Yeah, definitely has that good short run setup here in the 88 as Jeff Watson's going to get a run to the inside of Kenny Erickson momentarily. We're going to go 3 wide for the race lead. Jeff Watson getting a huge run off the bottom of turn number 2, going to almost complete the pass completely on Kenny Erickson. Meanwhile, the 88 of Ted Lindgren is solely out front now, showing the way as he leads that lap. Still 34 laps to go here in the Street Stock main event. There is your points leader, Doug Poyer, filing his way through, keeping it nice, calm, and collected, and bringing the 3 of Jesse Jensen right along with him.
Yeah, despite the nice tire smiley, or the front bumper smiley in the middle of the door on Jensen's car, he is up to 4th and looking for 3rd. He's got just a hair of a line to the inside of Poyer getting into the corner. However, Poyer does a good job of getting down racetrack and keeping her clean and keeping her in the 3rd position. Now Poyer on the hunt for Watson, who Watson trying to hang on. Watson's really been building on his runs here lately. He's got a lot of good, positive momentum and confidence in that car right now.
Yeah, and a few times that we've had the fortunate to have an in-car inside Jeff Watson, I'm always amazed at how smooth he is. Whenever we see him driving, he seems not ever working the wheel hard, always nice, calm. It's probably one of the smoothest drivers you'll see, and for him being only a second-year driver, it makes it that much more impressive to me. As you see Dave Lund, he's now worked his way up into the 5th spot, right in behind that 3-car of Jesse Jensen, so definitely have to keep an eye on those two as they start to close their gap here. As
it's going to be a black and gray sandwich with a yellow car in the middle, and Jensen's actually trying to sneak up into that middle groove now. We have seen the 3-car, Cruiswick and Geoff and his crew and all those guys, they know how to get that car moving along the middle and outside grooves when it needs to. Now here's the question. We are side by side with the 2 cars that had a problem just a little bit earlier. How clean does it stay here? Jensen moved to that middle line thinking that he had a run around Poyer, and now it is Lund taking 4th away from him.
Yeah, and Poyer and Dave Lund, they are both teammates out of the same stable, helping each other out a ton, so we'll see how hard they're going to race each other as one is going for points and one is shaking down a car. Now it's also going to bottle up your top 5, all nose to tail. A little bit of a shot there from Jesse Jensen as top 5 were all nose to tail for a second, going into that corner with Ted Lindgren showing the way. Now here comes Dave Lund to the inside of Poyer for that spot, and Jesse Jensen going to follow his tire tracks right on through, as we'll see if they have anything for your top 2 drivers of Ted Lindgren and Jeff Watson.
Smart racing right there, right place, right time for both of those cars to move in and forward, and it is Lund now closing on the 51 of Watson, and Watson took to the high groove just a little bit. Now, was that a mistake? Bottom opens up for Lund coming down the back straightaway.
Yeah, Jeff Watson's going to pull out of the gas. Looked like a little bit earlier there and try to fall back in line before Jesse Jensen can get there, and he does that ever so perfectly. So Jeff Watson's going to fall back in line and now maybe learn something from this 25 machine, as he's going to pull to the back bumper of Ted Lindgren now. So we have to keep an eye on Dave Lund as he is on his hunt for the front.
We watch your top 2. Meanwhile, car spun around. It is the 16 of Scott Perkins who's facing the wrong way. And Perkins, wrong direction, 16 car. We're going to get him straight back out and back on the track as we cut to commercial. More Street Stocks coming up next here on Home Track Heroes.
And welcome back to Home Track Heroes here on CW11, as we got a really exciting street stock race in the making, and a couple drivers who might not be very happy with each other are going to be restarting right around each other.
Let's bring it. Come on, boys, do something. As the caution had come out right before we went to break, we're going to stack them up 2 by 2 and let them loose.
Yep, and the 2 drivers that we're talking about were Dave Lund, who starts on the outside of row number 1, and then the guy right in behind him, he had some contact with earlier, so we'll see if that causes him a retribution a little bit later on for that 25 machine, as he is on the outside of Ted Lindgren trying to take over that race lead and gets a really good drive off of turn number 2, and Dave Lund dives it into turn number 3, trying to take over that top spot, bringing Jesse Jensen along with them, and Jeff Watson right there as well. There's a little bit of contact there with Ted Lindgren drifting up into the 25.
Lindgren wasn't going to give it up easy, so he at least gave Lund a shot to the shorts as he went by and down the back straightaway. Safest place for Lund to be is out ahead with a couple of car lengths in front of him. Now Jensen, sensing that he can drive to the outside of Lindgren, they go side by side off the corner, and the chase is on. Lund with Jensen trying to run him down.
Exactly, yeah, and here goes the battle for third now. Jeff Watts on the outside of Ted Lindgren trying to take over. Here comes Doug Poyer on the 57, your points leader, trying to bring on third place in points. That's Mark Hubbard, and to let you guys know how close this points battle is, it's Doug Poyer, the 441 points. Then you got Jesse Jensen with 436, so only 5 back. And then you go another 8 points back, and that's Mark Hubbard at 428. So all the top 3 in points, all within about 11 points of each other, 13 points of each other if I could do math, and it's very close.
Yeah, it's tight. It's very tight. So strategically right here, you saw Watson pull out a line to try to get to the outside of Lindgren. Right now, it looks like it's going to cost him the position to Poyer, as Poyer will get to the inside and take that over. What Hubbard was hoping was that Watson would keep going around the outside, pin Poyer to that lower groove so that Hubbard could just follow him in on through. It didn't work out like that, as you get a look at your leader, Dave Lund, and boy, sure looks like that gap's shrinking a little bit.
Yeah, we'll see what Jesse Jensen's able to do. And one advantage here that Dave Lund does have coming into this race is his tires aren't going to be as worn out, as you're only allowed to add, I believe, 1 tire per week to your car. One
First
new
week
tire.
out, 4 freshies for Lund, right?
Yep, and so it might have been he had to start on 2 old ones, 2 new ones, or might have 4 fresh ones. I believe it's 2 old ones, 2 new ones. So still that 1 extra tire, though, can really benefit you.
Yeah, absolutely. Put it on the drive side, or I say the outside tire, so right front, right rear as they're coming through to get that extra grip. It's going to be a big thing for Lund. As 19 to go, Jensen trying to pedal to keep with him. All kinds of stuff can still happen. And again, a 40-lapper. So this one, they're right now just beyond the halfway point as it goes. And I was starting to talk a little bit about it, the mini stock race, and I didn't quite get there on the long runs. One of the things drivers can do to make their car a little bit stronger in the later going is underinflate the tires in the early going. The tires build pressure as they continue to spin and they continue to heat up. It expands the tire, grows the tires, the terminology that they use. Well, if you started a little underinflated for where you're going to, predict the amount of growth that you're going to get. The really good teams can do that, so where your tires are the size that you want them to later in the race. That'll improve your car's handling, and especially as fuel load burns off. So the smart teams look at that and do it. And Ted Lindgren looked off the pace for just a second, cost him at least a position.
Yeah, it looked like coming off at turn number 2, got really loose right there, which is not necessarily uncharacteristic with that 88 machine, but it is definitely cost him a little bit there as he continues to work his way forward. Work his way back underway, I should say, as Doug Poirier is able to get around for that third spot as he continues to work his way on forward as we have 16 laps to go.
Still a long run to go as Poirier working on Lindgren in the 88 car. He's got the advantage. He's got a car length. As they work down into turn number 2, Lindgren trying to make the comeback, I guess, as after getting loose and losing that position. Car still looks strong, still looks balanced, able to run the low groove and hold it down there as you see Hubbard step out of line once again to try to circle around the middle of the racetrack, and just not a whole heck of a lot there for Mark at the moment.
Exactly, yeah, and back to Ted getting loose like that, it could be a product of, like we mentioned, the tire pressures, and on a really hot day like this, a hot track equals less grip. And if you don't have your tire pressure just right, or maybe misjudged on how hot the track really was, you see Poirier get really sideways now. It could just be a combination of these rear-wheel drive monsters just trying to figure out how to get the power down, and also a little bit of fatigue coming in here as it is a longer race than normal. So a lot of different factors could come into play here.
Some of the drivers are going to actually factor in some yellow flags, because every time you get a yellow flag, you get to go and roll through the corners and actually cool the tires off a little bit, and rather than these long extended runs where they just grow and grow and grow and grow. And yeah, some teams will game it like that and say, hey, we're going to take a chance, we're going to get a big caution-filled race and just put our tires exactly where we want them to be, and assume that they're not going to get a ton of growth out of them. Little short extended bursts. Right now, hard to kind of gauge what Lindgren had done. It's like we had said, Lindgren's car has been really good in early race runs, and just to my recollection has faded a couple of times, but right now he's right there on Poirier. It's actually Poirier who's not as strong late race as we've been seeing recently.
Exactly, yeah. Poirier always comes on fairly strong. Is able to work his way forward pretty well, and normally do it pretty relatively clean, at least the last few races, as now he's battling back for that third spot behind, or just in front of Ted Lindgren as Lindgren slides the corner, but he was able to recover pretty well. Every time you get really sideways like he did when he lost that spot to Poirier, that adds even more heat to the tires as you try to save the car from going sideways and are sliding it around. So that could have upset the handling on that 88 machine as we look up to your race leader, Dave Lund, and the gap he's really been able to build over the 3 car of Jesse Jensen here. It's not enough, I would say, to be comfortable, but it's definitely not feeling a ton of pressure from that 3 car as he's working his way through turns 1 and 2 right now.
Yeah, he certainly picked it up and added a little bit of distance between himself and Jensen down the back straightaway. As you can see, about a half a straightaway worth of advantage for Lund in his first race out, and again having to go all the way to the back after the incident between those two, as slowing car here on the front straightaway. Once again, 16 machine of Scott Perkins was the one who was slowing, and I think Scott managed to get up and off racetrack as we're still green flag conditions out there.
Yeah, and where the race leaders caught him at is enough to slow Dave Lund a little bit. He wasn't able to take his optimal line in the corner, but not enough to really allow Jesse Jensen to get to his back bumper. As we flash back to this great battle for 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th place.
It has been fantastic. Poirier in the 57, Lindgren in the 88, Watson in 51, Hubbard in 41, and Fody in 85 just kind of lined up like ducks in a row for a little while. Kind of surprising that none of them's been able to do anything with each other, as you've got a lot of good race car drivers and good equipment stacked up in there. Lindgren with a little look to the inside of Poirier coming off of 4, but no dice that time by.
Yeah, I feel like we saw this last time out of the street stocks was leaders kind of checking out, but then a really good nose-to-tail battle between 5, 6, 7, 8 cars, which we're seeing again right here with these 5 on your screen as Fody looks to the inside of the 41 of Mark Hubbard, who sits currently 3rd in points and quite a few positions back behind the 2 guys he's trying to chase down. So your defending champ struggling a little bit here in this hot day at the Summer Showdown.
Yeah, Fody's got a great line to the inside of him and looking to shuffle him back another position as we're down to 3 to go for Lund in the 25 car. front straightaway almost fully immersed in shade at the moment as he keeps driving on through. And the next time around, it is going to be just 2 passes of our 3/8 mile track for Lund to take a win.
Yeah, and I'm just really starting to catch the lap traffic. So it's been a really good and really competitive race throughout the entire field. So it really goes to show the talent level of the street stock class.
Indeed. Lund as he leads this segment, brought to you by Blue Boy Golf and Event Center. Looking for the perfect location to host your wedding or special corporate event? Look no further than Blue Boy Golf and Event Center in Monroe. A beautiful 9-hole golf course with awesome mountain views and makes a wonderful venue for your special day, which for Dave Lund might be celebrating a race win here in about 3/8 of a mile.
Exactly, yeah. A couple of slower cars right in front of him, but shouldn't be enough to really slow his momentum enough unless they have something really bad can go wrong right here. But looks like they're going to single file it out, let Dave Lund come through and take over the race win in that 25 machine. Jesse Jensen comes home second, and third place is your points leader, Doug Poyer, but gave a couple points to Jesse Jensen here. So it's going to be a tight points battle in the street stock division. It's going to be fun here as we start to close out the season. And another thing that's going to be pretty fun, I'm sure, will be this podium with a couple guys who might have some words to exchange with each other.
Oh, you think? You think they might go back and forth just a little bit? Well, let's see if there's even any altercation just getting down to the podium as you see Lund, Jensen, and Poyer. So Jensen's going to be flanked by a couple of teammates, and, well, they're all pulling down to the front straightaway. Nice. Let's throw things down to the big red machine. Derek Todoroff for the interviews.
All right, Dave, that number 25 looked hard to beat, but correct me if I'm wrong, this is your first time out here tonight.
Yeah, that car was wadded up in a ball last year. We put it back together, and Bruce was supposed to run it, and he decided he wanted me to shake it down and see how it works.
Had a great race out there in the number 25. Walk us through those leading laps there, getting up to the front.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love starting in the back. We've done that since 1992. It's a good time. It's a lot more fun than starting in the front.
All right, and who do you have to thank for that amazing number 25 machine?
Oh, man, everybody, Ox Chassis, Doug, Bruce, Ed, Denise, Mom, the whole Casey, everybody back at the shop at Ox Chassis.
Had a great race out there tonight. Have a great fan base apparently as well.
Yeah.
Had some speed in that golden number 3. What was the high point of that race for you?
Just racing to the front. Street stock racing can be pretty brutal. It makes it fun to watch for the fans, which that's what makes it so such a great class. But sometimes, like I said before, guys cross the line. I don't get it, but it's all good. I'm good with it. We'll move on, race the next race. Mr. Lund there had 4 brand new tires. It was kind of hard to beat that, but his car was good. So kudos to him and his guys. But yeah, my car was fast, really fast. It was fun to drive. I got to thank all my sponsors, Dunston & Bradley, Tire Pros of Arlington and Everett, Dirk and Chris and Cruiswick, my guys, Rob, Randall, Jeff. They worked their asses off on this car, and I just have a lot of fun driving it.
You look good out there tonight, Doug. Great racing with Jeff Watson. Walk us through that.
Yeah, it was a really good race. A lot of cars about the same speed, so we're just swapping positions. Lindgren did a great job. It was just a lot of fun.
Have anyone you'd like to thank for tonight for that great performance?
Yeah, Dave Lund, the winner, Lugs, Ed, Casey, my wife, my daughter, all the girls, Ox Chassis, and J2 Racing.
Well, definitely some drama to look forward to in that street stock class. It's a really tight points race, and maybe some drivers with some short memories. That'll keep on to that.
What you didn't catch is as they were making their way to the platform, there was words, and they were loud and potentially angry, and it's going to make the street stocks must-see TV going forward for the rest of the season.
But the must-see TV is right now on your screen as the super late model drivers are strapped in, ready to go. All opening ceremonies, everything all is done, and we are ready. Engines are fired. The excitement is in the air, and couldn't ask for a more beautiful night here for the Summer Showdown here in 2022.
I'll tell you what, I love schedule drop day. It's one of my favorite days of the year because you go through and you circle all the extremely big moments that you want to catch, and this is the one that you circle first on the Evergreen Speedway schedule. It is the Summer Showdown 200-lap super late model A-Maid event, and this whole thing wouldn't be possible without Tire Pros. So a huge thank you to Tire Pros for their sponsor of the Showdown the entire weekend. I mean, the Pro Late Model segment was awesome. Our Super Lates, they got a tall task to live up to. See if they can do it.
Exactly, yep. So you right now on your screen, you saw the 65 to the right-hand side fall out, but now the 43 is in the center of it. They're actually opting to go to the back. So both of them, they finished on the podium last week in the Pro Late Model portion, and they're both opting to go to the back. And if they finish on the podium again, another $10,000 added to each of their purse. So they're going to go and try to run for some extra money here tonight. So that's going to shake up the starting lineup. And on the front row, taking over the pole position out of Lake Oswego, Oregon, that is Cole Raz in the 27 Master Wrench machine. And last time that car was out here with him behind the wheel of it, it was up in flames.
That's bad.
So, yeah, it was during, I believe, ARCA K&N weekend a few years ago. And on practice day, it didn't go ideally for him and then the family-owned car. So they're looking to turn their luck around in that 27 machine. To his outside, that is the 48, the three-time Summer Showdown champion, Preston Peltier, in the 48 Generator Source machine. And he's looking for redemption after getting into some late trouble while leading the Pro Late race.
That second row features Buddy Shepard, the 22S car. He's sponsored by Martin's Auto Color. Next to him, Hayden Plybon in the Sue Kelly Cowlishaw number 55 Plybon. We've seen in his young career have some success out here as well, as he led a bunch of laps in the Pro Late Model version of the Showdown last season.
Exactly, yep. And next row, in the third row, we got Trevor Christiani, sponsored by Steelhead Metal Corp. That is the red 90 machine, as he is always very fast wherever he decides to run. And his outside, the only other past champion of the Summer Showdown, that's Taylor Riddle in the 15, sponsored by Jim Hay. His brother, last year's winner, Owen Riddle, broke in practice and is unfortunate not going to be able to make the starting grid, so that 10 machine is missing last year's defending champion, Owen Riddle.
Row number 4, the Napa of Cheyenne, number 08. That's Jace Hansen. Next to Hansen, starting in the 8th position, it's the number 11, the best number, by the way. There's no debate on that one. Dustin Ash, SPS, the sponsor of that car.
Next row, we see the 3 of Wyatt Gardner, sponsored by Red Tail Construction. He was absent in the Pro Late Model race, so good to see him out here in the Super. And then the 12, Trenton Moriarty, another one of the drivers who's doing double duty, sponsored by Aquajet.
The row behind them, couple of veterans, big names, and Garrett Evans. Evans, our Galloway Memorial winner, and the Leonard Evans Used Car Superstore, number 64. And next to him, Mike Longton. Longton, sponsored by Pendleton Excavating, in car number 37.
Then we see the 33G of Nick Gunderson making his Super Late Model debut in the new Property Solution machine. And his outside, the 48T of Tanner Holm making his return to asphalt, sponsored by Johansson Mechanical. As you get a good look there at one of our onboards, that is Trenton Moriarty.
Another guy who's going to have an onboard, we'll see it in just a little bit. It is Naaman Lang. Naaman Lang in the 18 car, sponsored by J&R Truck Rentals. Will start in the row behind Gunderson and Holm, and outside of him, Colton Price with the Super Late Model. Mazda of Everett sponsors the 14 machine.
Yep, there you get a good look there at Naaman Lang's 18L machine as he catches up the field, warms up those tires as he gets set. And that sun is going to be brutal early on, entering turn number 3. Next row, starting 17th on the field, that is the 17 machine of Max Schroeder, sponsored by Zach Jengelson. We saw Max do a great job holding his line and being able to hold off a lot of strong cars in the Pro Late Model race. As you see there, Derek Thorne and Tyler Tanner dropping to the back of the field, getting ready as they should begin the 1 to go next time by to Max Schroeder's outside. That's the 09 of Thane Alderman, sponsored by Wolfstein Construction.
Towards the back of the field, Donnie Wan at the 89. He did double duty on the weekend. Northwest Builders Inc. is sponsor on that car. And John Lathrop Jr., the 22, sponsored by Lake's Body Shop.
Then we got the Tool Shack number 43 of Derek Thorne at the back of the pack, like we mentioned. And the 98 of Greg Bennett, sponsored by Bennett Design and Construction. They spent all night working on that car, getting it fixed from the Pro Late Model incident and getting ready to go. And tail end Charlie on the field. That's the 65 of Tyler Tanner, sponsored by Joe Roaster.
23 cars, 200 times around, $25,000 to your winner here in the Super Late Model version of the Summer Showdown at 200 laps. More importantly, yeah, the money's big, but I don't know. Fame lasts forever.
Exactly.
Write your name in the history books is the big thing. There's guys who would rather see their name on the back of a T-shirt than they would the cash. The cash spends, but yeah, the legend, it lives on.
Exactly. Yep. And that front row, it's a good one. Ton of talent. I mean, Cole Raz and Preston Peltier, they're actually, fairly good buddies. Cole Raz spent a majority of some of the Snowball Derby in the 48 pit crew, helping them out, just learning from Preston Peltier. So kind of funny how they end up starting side by side here on the biggest race in the Northwest as they come off of turn number 4. on the loud pedal. Green flag is out. Cole Raz getting a good jump on the inside there with Preston Peltier. Oh, he gets really loose there. Entering turn number 1. Peltier taking that outside line and going to put that 48 car up front early.
That was quite the wiggle that you saw out of Raz in the 27 as the car just kind of bobbled back and forth, and that really allowed Peltier to drive up, around, and forward. And Peltier, he was in position to win the Pro Late model version of this. That's a lot of money that would have been on the line for him if he had been able to bring the Pro Lates and the Super Lates together. Peltier is going to go out and he's going to set this pace early on in the contest and make everybody else run from behind and try to catch him. Raz is second, Plybon sitting in the third spot in the early going.
Exactly, yeah, and you mentioned that big bonus that could have happened if Peltier is able to win both races. The big money bonus for the Summer Showdown, if you're not aware, if you're able to win the Pro Late model race, opt to go to the back of the Super Late model race, and you happen to win that one, 80 grand is in your pocket.
That's right. And then our winner of the Pro Late model race, Thomas Stanford, now running the Super Late model races. One of our guys who is running both, the 14 of Colt Price, off the pace early and here on the front straightaway. Tough break for Colt.
Yeah, unfortunate there, making his Super Late model debut as well in that 14 machine, and some problems early as we look back at the first side-by-side battles. Jace Hansen the 08 to the inside of Buddy Shepard, a couple California drivers who last time they battled side-by-side was for the race winner Irwindale, and that led to a little bit of fireworks after. So these two drivers have a little bit of history here early on in 2022 as they're holding up one of the past champions, Taylor Riddle, in the all-white with the red number 15.
Good side-by-side battle. 3 cars nearly throw a blanket over them as you look. Riddle saying, I don't want any part of this. Get me underneath and get me past these guys in the early running. You don't want to get hung up, and especially with Peltier out front setting such a rapid pace like he's doing, you're in danger if you get hung up too long towards the back of the field with any of these guys.
Exactly, and there will be a break at the halfway point, so caution will come out at lap 100. Drivers will be able to come in, change tires, and make the adjustments that they need. They'll have a 10-minute break for that, so definitely can push your equipment a little bit. It's not going to be the tires and stuff you have at the end of the race, but kind of learn a little bit here about what your car can do early on in a run, and learn how it's going to change over the course of 100 laps. You see Trent Moriarty using every inch of that back straightaway.
Yeah, it's one of those things you have to stay on the lead lap by the end of the 100, so you got to push at least hard enough to stay amongst the lead lap cars. If you go a lap down, you're in a position where you're digging so far from behind with a lot of fast other guys in the field, you're almost hosed.
Exactly, yeah, and Peltier hasn't really been able to pull away from either of these two young guns behind him. That's Cole Raz really closing the gap on him, that 27, and Hayden Blybon, like you mentioned, led a lot of laps here in the Pro Late model portion last year, and setting some pretty good pace here early as they're all three trying to hunt down the 48 of Price Peltier with Trevor Christiani rounding out that 4th spot.
Well, we're going to take a quick time out. We're going to come back with more. We're just getting started here in the Super Late model version of the Summer Showdown, the 200 lapper, and more coming up after this on Home Track Heroes. Well, while you guys were gone at break, back here on Home Track Heroes in the CW11, we got some stuff that's happening, and it is one of the big guns from the back of the field starting to make his money and put himself in position to make some serious cash.
Exactly, yeah. While we were watching that battle for first earlier on, Derek Thorne was quietly working his way forward, and now he's all the way up to the 2nd position. This was him getting around Trevor Christiani for the 3rd spot, and just kind of drove it in there. Christian's like, yep, you're faster than me. I'll let you go on by, and I'll fall back in line and see how you get around this track so quickly, because Derek Thorne was picking him up, putting him down very, very quickly, and then it wasn't too many laps later that he was able to catch the 55 of Hayden Plybon, which he does right here. Was able to run down to the inside of him, similar to how he passed Christiani, dives it in there, and then puts a lot of gap between him and the 55, and is now hunting down the 48 of Preston Peltier as we flash forward now to what's live, and 136 laps to go. It is Preston Peltier, Derek Thorne, your 1-2, with Hayden Plybon, the young gun, about a straightaway behind.
How many times have we seen this happen in the recent memory? Peltier and Thorne, with Peltier running just a little bit wider through 1 and 2, and Thorne right down there on the bottom of the racetrack looking for opportunity to drive in and by him. Peltier and Thorne 1 and 2, 136 to go here at the Showdown.
Yeah, I think if you plan on coming to the Summer Showdown, you can almost plan to see the 48 and 43 battle in some way, shape, or form. Usually for the race lead, as these two are so strong, two of the best in the country without a doubt, as Derek Thorne is actually the #1 1 ranked late model driver in the country, so definitely carries that title and carries it well, and shows why he has that title, as he is putting a lot of pressure on the 48 of Peltier.
And look how fast they are. I believe that's Donnie Wanted that they had just lapped, and Wanted was a top 5, top 10 guy last year easily every time he hit the track. So already lapping Wanted, who's not having quite the showdown that we were looking for. As there is Thorne making his first real bid for the lead, as he is sneaking up on the inside of Peltier. Peltier trying to hold him off. Right now, already they've lapped up to 12th, so 11th and forward is on the lead lap at this point in time. Thorne takes a different line into 1 and 2. Is bottom wasn't too happy for him, so going to reassess and give it another shot down the back straightaway.
Yeah, it runs that really high diamond line, which you used to see a ton back in the 80s and 90s as cars just barreling on down there all the way up to the wall, diamond it off, and get a huge run down the back straightaway. And that time it just didn't really seem to work out for him, as it seemed like running the low line was better for him through 1 and 2. As last time by, he was able to really stick low and get our good run on the 48. As we're going to hop on board now with Nema Lang, who has probably turned more laps than almost anyone else here at Evergreen Speedway, as he has Hayden Plybon. That's the 3rd place car right in front of him. As Nema not quite having the run he wants. I always got the smaller motor in the car, not quite up there on power some of the other guys, but able to preserve the tires a little bit more on these longer runs, and we're almost 70 laps deep in this run, so definitely has probably more saved up than almost anyone else.
Look how smooth he is, though. I mean, even with the power plant being down, you got to figure if he had a true super engine in that thing, he would be very, very fast right now, as he is smooth, just like butter on a roll at this point in time, although a little counter steer right there to prove me wrong, but looking smooth out there, Nama. Just got to keep her up and, catch a break maybe, as we're going to go inside the cockpit of the Moriarty car.
Yeah, other side of the track, and a different story here is Trent Moriarty has got the bigger motor in the car, so you're going to see him probably work the wheel a lot more in these corners, a lot more power to get down, and it wears out the tires a little bit more. You see him flip a little bit of counter steer there off the corner, and it's always so much fun to see the drivers slide up off of turn number 4 and really getting the power down. It's really cool from one of our up top cameras. You can really tell just how much they're really pushing the cars and coming over that big hump as they transition onto the new pavement on the front straightaway. It's awesome view here, and I love watching Trent Moriarty, another guy who has a ton of laps around the 5/8 mile.
I love the look of the digital gauges that he's got in the dash there, and how easy those things are for him to see, how they're color coded right now. Right now they're in the blue/green, so all of those ranges for him are where they wanted to. He would know if they're not, because they'll drop either into the red or they'll ascend up into the red and give him a quick visual indicator. Pretty hard to actually read the numbers or catch the needle on a dial, but the way that those digital gauges are set up makes it really easy to go, oh, there's a problem, quickly get off the gas and get it fixed.
Exactly, yep, and here we go, flashing up. There was your 3rd place driver of Hayden Plybon, and there go your race leaders down the front straightaway, so about an entire straightaway, if not more, between 1st, 2nd, and then 3rd place. As we watch the rest of the field roll through, there is Preston Peltier, your race leader, as he barrels down the back straightaways. It's been a long run, and on a really hot day, these drivers are definitely going to be feeling the fatigue, as it is warm out there. I mean, it's tough to not fall out of the seat on a race like this.
Yeah, absolutely. We just saw the in-car from Moriarty, and that should be Moriarty getting run down by Peltier right here. So they're within a couple of car lengths, and now it's time for Trenton to fight for his race life, try to stay on this lead lap with 26 to go. It's going to be a really tall task. I mean, if we were down into about 5 laps to go, you could imagine him making that car really, really wide. But right now, Trenton in danger of going at least 1 tick down to Preston, who just continues to look, when he's out front by himself, nearly unbeatable.
Exactly, yeah. But the one thing that Trent does have to his advantage is no real cars in front of him that are that close. So if he's able to hold off Preston a little bit and then not allow Preston to catch up to any other lap cars in front of him, he might be able to hang on to that lucky dog position as we close in on the caution. It's just 25 laps away, but a lot can happen in 25 laps with these guys, and you never know when a caution come out from some of the other drivers as well. As there goes Peltier looking to the inside of Moriarty. You'll see what Trent does. He's able to pinch him down a little bit off corner exit and try to carry that outside momentum and not let the 48 get by.
That car in front of him is at least a set of corners ahead, but as fast as Peltier is, it's going to be a tough task, hoping that he doesn't get around another car, and especially this close into the break. I say this close, I mean 24 laps, that's 1/8 of the race at this point in time. Now the question is, how quick in behind him does Trent learn anything here? You see Preston getting away just a little bit down the back straightaway. It looks like he's carrying a bit more speed into the corner. Trenton gets a little bit on him at corner entry and through the middle, but corner exit, Preston quite a bit better.
Exactly. You really see how much quicker he's able to get to the throttles. We got a battle here between a couple of lap cars and a couple of legends, as that is Garrett Evans working his way to the inside of Nema Lang. So they are battling for position, but they are a lap down, I believe, just outside the top 10 as they go down the front straightaway into turn number 1. Evans with the preferred line. Nema giving him plenty of room, as it is the battle for 13th on your screen, as you see according to the ticker, as there goes the new West Coast Hall of Fame inductee around Nema Lang.
Enjoy this shot while we still can. I don't know how many more years, races even, we're going to get to see the 64 and the 18 on the track at the same time, much less racing against each other. So appreciate that for the couple of seconds that you had it, as those two have had some good races in the past in a little while, and one of the careers is a little closer to the end, the other for sure.
Exactly, yeah, as there you see him go down the back straightaway. I love all these different cameras that are able to get up around the track. Gary Ricciala doing a great job running some onboards and some statics around the track for us, giving you all these really unique shots and really up close and personal shots on this big 5/8 mile oval.
Get to watch Garrett for another set of corners. We're going to flash back, and there's exactly what Moriarty may not have wanted to see, although that may not be the next immediate car on the lap. I think Gunderson might be 2 down now as opposed to Trenton. However, Preston is rolling in subtly on the 22, and I believe that is the next car in line. Is that Buddy Shepard's 22?
That's what
I
it
think
looks
that's
like.
the next car,
Yep.
as far as lead lap cars go for him to put down. So at this point, Moriarty is hoping that Peltier can't get to him, although it's looking awfully imminent.
Yeah, exactly. Whether he obviously can't get to him or that a caution will come out first. So we'll see what plays out there. You see also Donnie Wannick closing in on Trent Moriarty. I believe that is a battle for position as well.
Alternate world, Trenton catches up on the back of Shepard and gets him past before the break comes as well, and gets himself back into the lucky dog spot. So we'll see. A lot can happen. And again, Shepard has been running up in that upper reaches of the racetrack, high and up and around. So maybe he is way off pace. Maybe his car is not where it wants to be here at the end of this very long run.
Exactly,
I saw Colton Price back on the racetrack as well after that early whatever snafu it was, getting back out there and getting some valuable laps.
Yeah, I know they've been battling some electrical issues on that car throughout the year, so it could be just another one of those unfun days at a racetrack where you can't quite figure out what the problem is, and it's nothing mechanical, it's just all electrical. And a tough break there for the 14 machine is trying to get first super race for him under the belt, and not going to be one he's going to want to remember.
Taking a look at Nema Lang as he rockets down the back straightaway with a couple other cars racing for position behind him.
Exactly, yeah. It's the 48T of Tanner Holm giving way to the 15 of Taylor Riddle, who's on the lead lap still. Riddle having a great run inside the top 5. As this segment is brought to you by Buzz Inn Steakhouse. Buzz Inn Steakhouse serves hand-cut Angus steaks, breakfast all day, and mouth-watering burgers. Visit one of their 12 locations. Buzz Inn Steakhouse, sponsor of the Stinger 8 class, which you guys will be able to catch in action next week on Home Track Heroes, as we go back to Preston Peltier up front, showing the way over Derek Thorne and Hayden Plybon, getting some pressure from Jace Hansen for that 3rd spot.
Jace Hansen moving it up and into the podium position right now. Nice run by Jace. Dives down to the inside, and Plybon says, not going to fight you too hard right now. In 15 laps, we're all heading to the pits to make adjustments, get fresh rubber, etc. But if anything happens, I'll take the position back, and I'm certainly not letting anybody else get by me without more of a fight.
Yeah, I'm not sure too many drivers thought that this first 100 laps would almost go completely green to checkered, as we have about 85, 86 laps complete in this run so far. So definitely a big setup change for these drivers from when they first went out to where they're at now. It's definitely changed a lot more than maybe they thought of, because those tires have got to be hot, they've got to be slick, and you also got to be worn out as a driver, because 86, 87 laps on the 5/8 mile is definitely tough, as we watch the 48 of Preston Peltier put Cole Raz a lap down now. So pole sitter Cole Raz going a lap down. Trevor Crisciani right there is well in danger of going a lap down.
Wow, he is lapping some very, very fast race cars at the moment as Peltier. Late model racing gets a bad rap for being a crash fest, especially in these big major races, and this has not been the case at all, as this one just continues steamrolling forward on the field. Peltier just lapping guys left and right all over the place.
Exactly, yeah, that's 7th place. Trevor Crisciani going a lap down, and Cole Raz, like I mentioned, a couple really, really strong drivers out here going a lap down early, and that's like you mentioned at the top of the show, or at the top of this race, is you got to be going fast enough to not go a lap down and stay in contention, and those drivers weren't able to push it hard enough, or the car's not agreeing with them enough, as we just have 6 cars on the lead lap, as right there Tyler Tanner working his way forward. He's one of them.
Well, let's think about it. We were talking about Moriarty when he got by him with about 25. Oh, and finally got a car backing around. I mean, we're talking about Trenton. trying to keep that spot and not letting Peltier get by anybody else or lap them so he can be in the position for the lucky dog. Well, 3 more guys on the lead lap lapped later, and here's the position we're in, finally seeing a yellow flag.
Yeah, so Trevor Christiani should be the recipient of that, as we're being told it's Greg Bennett facing the wrong way, entering turn number 3 up against the wall driver's side. You see him moving around, that's good, as we're going to take a zoomed in look, and all by himself, that looks like a tire going down. It's my best guess, probably a left rear tire going down, and thankfully it wasn't a right front. We're going to ride on board Trent Moriarty is up in front of him and just goes around by himself, slaps the front end into the wall. Probably going to be enough damage to end his day, but that looked like something in the left side breaking or going down, left side tire going down, sending him sideways in the wall. You see the skid marks right there as got him cleaned up and lined back up. But yeah, tough right there for Greg Bennett as they were working hard all night long to get that car back together. As we're going to have a nice restart here. Top 7 cars on the lead lap and some door bagging between your race leaders. Peltier turning in a little bit early on Derek Thorne. Thorne's going to push him up the track, and they're racing hard. You think there was 11 laps to go in the race, not 11 laps to go till a break, as Peltier and Thorne pushing each other hard through 1 and 2.
You wonder if that was just Derek proving a point at that point in time, going through, hey, listen, right now you might be controlling this thing, but I'm going to be here at some point in time, and I'm not afraid to use up some body panels to do it. Now Preston gets away and just stretching it again big time, but Thorne kind of like Nuke LaLoosh back in Bull Durham, announcing his presence with authority, at least on that restart.
Exactly, yeah. So here we go, seeing them all barrel down the back straightaway into turn number 3. Cole Raz moving his way forward, trying to get around Plybon, as it's a lot of good cars right here, right outside, battling for what would be the next lucky dog spot as we approach caution here in about 9 laps, as there is the 65 Tyler Tanner in 5th position, looking to the inside of Taylor Riddle. Got a really good run down the back straightaway. Looks like Taylor's going to give him the line going into turn number 3. So the 2 drivers who started at the very back of the pack now sit 2nd and 5th position on their field.
And again, reminder, $10,000 on the line if they can stay in podium finishing positions for both Thorne and Riddle's got to get back up into that podium right now as he's working his way forward. That's a step in the right direction for Tyler Tanner.
Exactly, and you saw Riddle get really low off of turn number 2 right there, and it's kind of a tough line. You'll see some drivers dip off into the dirt, dust, inside line, off the corners, trying to get as much grip and power down as they can, and it looked like it kind of bit Riddle there as he got really loose coming off turn number 2 that time. But here on your screen, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place, Derek Thorne, after that contact with Peltier, I mean, that was some pretty heavy contact. It could really easily cut down a tire, end someone's day really quickly. So you have to keep an eye on both him and Peltier, make sure they don't have any sort of issues coming into this break, because that'd be detrimental having something go wrong 5 laps before a caution.
Thorne is looking okay still, and you can see him left tires right down by the rumble strip as he gets into the first corner. Giving him a good run, Jace Hansen. Hansen having a real eye-opening show here at the Showdown. He has looked like he's had a lot of speed. The idea for Hansen here is going to be to hold Tanner off, and Tyler Tanner is coming like a freight train in behind him, looking for a podium before we go to break.
Exactly, yeah. Didn't quite get through the field as quickly as Derek Thorne, but was able to keep his nose clean and get through it regardless, approaching this halfway break, as there is Press Peltier, just 5 laps to go until we reach that halfway caution. Peltier, Hansen, and then the 65 of Tyler Tanner. And Hansen, he picked up the win at Irwindale, like I mentioned, between him and Buddy Shepard when they were getting into it. So he's coming off some momentum. As problems for Trevor Christiani, one of your drivers on the lead lap. He's going really slow. Something wrong with that 90 car. We'll see if he pulls in the pits this time by. Possibly a tire down. I can't quite tell what's going on. He's trying to pick the speed back up. I'm not quite sure what happened there.
He's got to go into survival mode here. 4 to go.
Lots of sparks.
Oh, yeah. Big sparkage coming out from underneath it. If somehow, some miracle, he can stay on the lead lap and get in and get it fixed. How long is our break coming up here? How long are they taking to work on the cars?
About 10 minutes to work on the car, so we'll see if he's able to fix the issues on that, as Tyler Tanner got around Jace Hansen, and now he's looking to get to the inside of Derek Thorne down the back straightaway. So Tyler Tanner, he's not messing around. He wants that 2nd spot going into the break.
Tyler Tanner's got a really good piece here, and we haven't seen a lot of guys pass Derek Thorne as easily as Tyler Tanner just did, but there he goes. So Tanner, 2 before the break, has now got the runner-up position, and Christiani off the racetrack on the
heartbreak
inside.
there. Yeah, I mean, if it was a tire issue, it sucks so much because it's going right into the brake. Just 3 laps to go. It's heartbreaking for that 90 car as he's so close to be able to not have to lose any laps. And now he's going to be sitting at least at a 3 or 4 lap deficit going into the second 100 laps if they're able to get the car fixed.
I wonder if that Thorn car's fading something bad here coming towards the break, as there goes to the inside Hansen looking for third, and Thorn's going to go way up racetrack. Just let him go. So Thorn, I mean, knows he doesn't have to battle him too hard at this point in time. He's still got another 100 laps to get back by him, but goes from second to fourth in a couple of laps. I think that's gonna do it. Yeah, it should be commercial break time and should be break time on the racetrack.
Yep, so the yellow flag coming out for the race leaders. Yellow lights aren't on quite yet, but yellow flag is out for your race leaders. Preston Peltier, Tyler Tanner, Derek Thorne. Well, it'll actually be Jace Hansen, your top 3 going into this break. So don't miss anything. Exciting 100-lap conclusion when we come back here on Home Track Heroes. And welcome back to Home Track Heroes, the Summer Showdown, brought to you by Tire Pros. Kyler Hope, Caleb Hart up here in the booth with you guys as we have the exciting 100-lap conclusion here. As it's been a very fun race so far. It's been mainly the Preston Peltier show up front, but now he's got the 2 strong guys. The 2 guys end up on the podium last night in the Pro Late models. Tyler Tanner and Derek Thorne right in behind him, along with Jace Hansen in the 08, who's been very strong and very impressive as we get set to go green flag action for 100 more times around the Super Speedway of the West.
You know the old analogy, drive for show, putt for dough in golf, right? Well, that first 100 laps was the drive. Now you putt for the money. So this last 100 is where guys are going to earn their paychecks. The green flag is out. They had to put themselves in position to earn them. But from here, everything's game. That's a lot of smoke.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a tire up on the 65. Maybe something going wrong there. It looks like it's coming out of the right front, possibly out of the motor itself. And so we'll have to keep an eye on that as they barrel down in the corner under heavy braking. You see it smoke again. Looks like a tire. I mean, that looks more than a tire rub to me, actually.
Yeah, I mean, your tire rub's a little less full. Is that the word for it? I mean, it's more centered. That's coming right out the back of the car, and it's big. And we've got a yellow out on the racetrack, and I don't know, are they sending Tyler in?
Yeah, it looks like possibly get a little bit of fluid down, not enough to cause a wreck behind him, thankfully. But yeah, he's going to pull around and try to get into the pits. As you also see Wyatt Garner pulling in as well. So possibly something from both drivers. Not quite sure what's going on with the 3 car, but you could visibly see a ton of that smoke coming out of Tyler Tanner's 65 machine as he's going to come pull it into the pits and see if they can figure out what's going wrong with that 65. Is he was probably one of the faster cars there towards the end of that first 100-lap green flag run. So we'll bring it back up to the booth while the track crews goes out and sees what's going on the track, see if they find any fluid down. But that's a tough break for the 65. I mean, hopefully they'll be able to get it figured out and diagnosed. But, I mean, that's a ton of smoke coming out of the engine bay, like we mentioned.
That'd be weird that they would be able to get something in the engine fixed up that quick, although he's got a really sharp crew. To his advantage, you know, searching for fluid. If they had to dry any of it, might give him a little extra time, and he's rolling.
Yeah, they got to send it back out. They had the hood up on it, working on it underneath that caution flag, as they're going to send it back out, and I don't see any of that smoke returning, so I mean, maybe a loose line on something, or they're able to fix quickly, or
I don't know why you would have had a line loose. That's the weird thing. I mean, yeah, you're going in and swapping tires out and making adjustments, but you know that stuff isn't just a glance of the hand and knock the line off, right? It's all screwed on some way by your AN fitting or whatever. Hopefully it's fixed. I don't see any smoke off them on the restart. So we go green, and that shuffles everybody up. I mean, Tanner was second, so now everybody else just got a free spot.
Exactly, yeah, and Tyler Tanner's going to have to work his way from the back of the field to the front again. So he did it at the beginning of the race. Now he has to try to do it again. Meanwhile, up front, Derek Thorne get a great run on the inside of Preston Peltier, looking to take over that race lead as they come off the corner. Great shot of them side by side down the front straightaway, and Peltier's going to door him down at the start-finish line, and Derek Thorne's going to run him up the track, and he's not having any of those games that Peltier's playing, as that looked like a pretty prominent left-hand turn at the start-finish line by Peltier.
Yeah, but no matter what, Thorne's got the lead right now. You can play as many games as you want to, but Thorne, lead, race. Those are the 3 key words coming out of that exchange.
Exactly, yeah. It is Peltier coming down the front straightaway, turned left early into Derek Thorne, trying to upset him. We saw him do that earlier on a restart, and Thorne ran off the track right before he went to break, and it ended up biting Derek Thorne mainly that time, but this time it was Peltier ended up the loser on that game, so Derek Thorne back out up front. You could see he really wasn't having any of Peltier's games as he just ran him up the track into turn 1, and wasn't given any chance to turn down as Peltier trying to rebound now and try to hunt down the 43 car.
Interestingly enough, and I wonder what kind of strategy comes in on Derek Thorne's head, he really wasn't having any success chasing him down. I wonder if he decided, okay, well, on this restart, I'm taking the lead. Preston, it's your turn to get around me, because we watched the inverse, and granted, it was the first 100, not the second 100, but Preston just kept stretching and stretching and stretching. Thorne now is going to be the guy who controls this and forcing Preston behind him to do something.
Exactly, yeah, and Derek now also doesn't have to drive through the field for the first portion, so that could have been why he fell off so hard on that last restart before the break. He uses tires up, trying to get through the field, and that's why Tyler Tanner and Jace Hansen were able to get around him. This time, he doesn't have to do that. He restarted on the front row, or restart on the second row, the first caution, and then Tyler Tanner has issues moving Derek Thorne up. So now he doesn't have to worry about running through the field. He can start the preservation of the tires for his 100 laps right now and really pace this race over Preston Peltier. Jace Hansen sits in third, and Plybon sits right there in fourth with Taylor Riddle in fifth. So still 5 really strong cars inside the top 5, and here comes Tyler Tanner working his way back forward. Got to get past all these lap cars, and there we see Nema Lang and Garrett Evans once again right with each other.
Take a photo, folks. Again, it's going to be one that's going to last you a whole long time, as here comes Tanner underneath Schroeder trying to get position and move his way back up the field. You know, Tanner at this point, and it's still really early into this run, but man, he'd be very benefited by another caution.
Exactly, and right there, the 3 car of Wyatt Garner coming to a really slow pace on the front straightaway, trying to wheel it all the way to pit road. That car looked like it lost power or something going wrong on the 3 car. We stay green flag for now, so it's going to remain up front with Derek Thorne and Preston Peltier. As last time by, Peltier was able to really close the gap, but Derek Thorne got a really good drive off of 1 and 2 and really opened it back up. It seems like Thorne is stronger in 1 and 2, Peltier stronger in 3 and 4, and that gap kind of fluctuates.
Ooh, except for that 1 and 2 where Derek washed way up racetrack, and here comes Preston getting really, really close. There's another look at Tanner, and Tanner working to the inside of Nema coming off the second corner. He is steamrolling back up the field to the point where Tanner right now is sitting in 7th. So Tyler Tanner's moving. Gonna need a little help, but he is definitely coming.
Yeah, last car on the lead lap is Tyler Tanner. It's 7 cars on the lead lap here with 90 laps to go on the Summer Showdown here. It's presented by Tire Pros. Tyler Tanner is going to get some lap traffic at Lathrop right in the worst spot trying to get around Nema Lang, so it's going to stall out his momentum momentarily. But I don't see any more smoke on 65, so that's the best news yet.
Yeah, whatever that crew did to fix whatever it was, kudos to them. They quickly got it identified, put back together, and are good to go at this point. So nice job by them. Meanwhile, first time we've seen Peltier really start looking up a groove coming out of turn number 2.
Yeah, that seems to be where Derek likes to run. We saw a lot on the Pro Late model, that middle to higher groove. You can kind of carry your momentum a little bit more that way. You're not using your brakes up as much. So in these long endurance races, you got to take care of your equipment, and the less time you spend on the brake pedal, the longer they're going to last. As he kind of rolls through the middle again right there. Peltier kind of following his tire track. So not quite sure if Preston's kind of biding his time now. Knows they have 88 laps to go in the race. Jace Hansen's not putting any pressure here for that second spot. So maybe Peltier is also kind of going into preservation mode. Going to let Derek kind of lead and hope for a caution maybe, or just hope that he can preserve his stuff better and run him down later on.
With 100% authenticity, I can say I don't think Thorne wants to see a caution. Yeah. I don't think he wants to artificially give Preston all of that track space that he's now built up on him and let him start side by side with him again to put himself in a position where they're going to bang doors and something might happen.
Exactly,
that would be bad for Thorne.
Yeah, and so we take out the 2 top super late model drivers here in the country that are battling for first and second. We have a really good race in our hands because 3rd, 4th, and 5th are all underneath the blanket going into turn number 1. That's Jace Hansen, Hayden Plybon, and Taylor Riddle. Like I mentioned, Taylor is the only other driver besides Preston Peltier in the field who has won this race, and it was his brother actually who won it last year, Owen Riddle. So the Riddle's looking to bring home their name on the t-shirt again, as they have 2 of them on it right now, as he's looking to the inside of Hayden Plybon going into 3 out of turn 4. Jace Hansen continues to lead the small pack of cars right here as Buddy Shepard sits in 6th position, not too far behind them, so these guys get to racing pretty hard. It's going to allow the 22 to get back in the picture as well, as it's 2 Northwest guys versus 2 California kids.
Is it just me, or is Plybon just a matter of time from getting his name on a t-shirt somewhere? It's going to be awfully awfully close. That kid's got a ton of talent, and maybe not tonight here on Home Track Heroes, but I'm guessing in the extremely near future, Plaibon wins a big race.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That kid has a ton of talent, no doubt about it, as he is wheeling that 55 machine around. I mean, he was leading, or I can't remember if he was leading, or he was definitely in the picture for a top 3 spot last year in the Pro Late Model portion, but ended up self-spinning off the back straight, which we see quite a lot of young drivers do, which kudos to the guys in the Pro Late Models, the 14-year-olds. They all kept it straight the entire time, which is extremely hard on this big and fast track. We saw Caden Holm battle issues in the Galloway race. Coming off turn number 2, it's just so easy to get to the throttle a little bit sooner than the car is ready to, and it rotates around. So kudos to all the drivers, all the new drivers we saw in the Pro Late Model race, handle it so well. And Hayden Plaibon definitely learned from that mistake, and he's putting his Super Late Model into position for a good run here.
Yeah, he's doing a great job sitting around in 4th at the moment, and Hansen not too far ahead of him. I mean, that advantage between the two has waxed and waned a couple of times. Right now, Hansen seems to be expanding it, but give him another couple of laps. Again, this is a very long run that's going to come into play here. 100 laps towards the end, and there's still a lot of time for Plaibon to get back by him.
Yep, so there's the gap, almost a full straightaway between 1st and 2nd, and then 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Then Buddy Shepard sitting in 6th right there, and then Tyler Tanner, he's still working his way back through the field. A caution would have benefited him really well because he was able to then go in front of all the lap cars without having to drive around them, but unfortunately he's have to do it the hard way, as Derek Thorne really opened up the gap. It's probably the biggest gap we've seen for Derek Thorne so far in this 200 lap main event.
There's part of me as a race fan that doesn't want to see that caution come. I want to see Preston have to run Derek back down if he's going to go ahead to do that and challenge him for the lead again, because we've seen Derek a couple of times have a lead like this, and a caution comes out, and that advantage that he's built takes away his chance to win here at Evergreen Speedway. So the race fan in me, trying not to play favorites or root, but like, if Derek gets past here, I want to see somebody run him down and do it.
Exactly. Yeah, we've talked about it. Derek Thorne and Evergreen Speedway definitely have a love-hate relationship, because Derek Thorne has probably led more laps here than anyone else in the last 3-4 years when between Summer Showdowns and Pro Late Models Summer Shootouts, but has yet to come home with that win. He's had a 2nd, a 3rd, and a 4th. Has yet to win the race. He's come 100 feet from winning the race, like last year in the Pro Late Model race. And then this year in the Pro Late Model race, just got outdrove by Thomas Stanford at the end of it, who had a phenomenal run coming from the back. And what a great show that was, but still just heartbreak for Derek Thorne.
Even then, it took a couple of cautions to get Stanford even in the position to go ahead and do that. Now, granted, it's racing. Yellow flags are going to happen. But you just hope on one of these where he's established this kind of advantage that he has, that he gets to see it all the way through.
Exactly, yeah. And I mean, I don't think there'd be that many people upset to see Derek Thorne finally conquer Evergreen Speedway, and his time will come. It could be tonight, as he is showing a really strong hand right now. Still got 77 laps to go, which anything can happen, as we noticed, but we also had a really long green flag run to start the race, so that could be the way we ended as well, as these drivers are putting on a great show, great clean racing all around, and some good action, as that 3rd place battle starting to open up a little bit as Hayden Plaibon's fallen off of Jace Hansen.
Just a little bit. 76 remaining, so these drivers are through 5/8. If you break it into 8 25-lap segments, 5 down, 3 to go at this point in time, as here comes Peltier. He is starting to close that distance on Thorne a little bit. Thorne had been running from him a bit. Now here comes Preston soaking it up.
Yeah, I wonder if Derek maybe, I mean, that's a little closer than comfort, but maybe Derek was starting to let off a little bit to preserve his stuff, allow Peltier to maybe come back up to his front bumper, and then he'll start running, or back bumper, and then start running hard again. It could be a strategy play out, or it could just be Preston starting to push a little bit, and Derek has to pick up the pace. You never really know. As here goes Taylor Riddle on the inside of Plaibon for that 5th or 4th spot on track, as they're going to catch some side-by-side lap traffic in front of them. So that'll be interesting to see how they get it sorted out as they go down to turn number 1. You see Jace Hansen having to go really low, trying to avoid the side-by-side battle. That's the 09 of Thane Alderman and the 33G of Nick Gunderson making his Super Late Model debut as they get it single-filed out. But that is good news for the 15 Taylor Riddle, because he got by Plaibon. Now he's putting some heavy pressure on the 08 of Jace Hansen for that 3rd spot on the podium.
You wonder if that's the spotter going strategy-wise. Hey, slower traffic coming, push now, and there it is.
Wow.
So, yeah, well done, and good timing on those moves, as he got those guys right before and right after they were in slower traffic. And Riddle now up into 3rd, and we'll see if he's saved anything. If he's got anything for your front two, they're a long ways away at this point, but he's put himself in position, and that's all you can ask.
Exactly. I mean, if you have a stronger car, 72 laps is plenty of time to catch these two, especially if they get to racing, which it looks like they just might this time by. Derek Thorne opting to go that really low line this time in turn number 3. Peltier going to get a good run, running down the bank, coming down the front straightaway. So maybe Peltier might have something here for Derek Thorne. 70 laps to go here in the Summer Showdown as they go by and through 1 and 2. Peltier, it looks like if he was saving, he's not anymore because he's putting a ton of pressure on the back of that 43 car now.
Yeah, that car looks like it's visually picked up quite a bit of speed, especially at corner entry where he is carrying that car in and through. And on exit, the way that he's whipping it down off the track to use the bottom groove to kind of launch himself. Peltier looking strong, and Thorne gonna push up racetrack in 1 and 2. That's the move that might cost him. It didn't that time around, but if he does it again, I wonder if Peltier is ready to step underneath him and back into the top spot.
Yeah, well, in the Pro Late Model race, we mentioned Max Schroeder, how he was running that little bit higher line and just driving. He was fast enough to hold off the guys behind him, even though the guys behind him were faster overall. So maybe just run that outside line, being able to keep your momentum carried up is the right move for Derek Thorne, but you got to be perfect. And it looked like he went a little too high that time. We'll see if he's able to clear Peltier off the back straightaway with that momentum. He does, but Peltier is definitely there, and it's going to take just one mistake from Derek Thorne to allow him to get by.
Thorne way better in 3 and 4. He's able to hug the bottom groove, and maybe that's by design. Let's see if he continues washing up as high as he was in 1 and 2 to the bottom, and it looks like Preston's going to make the run this time. Door panel to door panel through 2. Thorne's still good enough off the top to clear him and hold the lead.
Yeah, that diamond line can just be so powerful if you're able to hit it just right. There's also a fine line you're playing because you wash too high up and you're up in the marbles and probably meeting the fence because there's no grip once you go past that line of no return. But Derek Thorne doing it just perfectly so far, but heavy pressure from Peltier. You see Derek running the bottom in 3 and 4 is really costing him entering turn number 1 because it allows Peltier to get right to his back bumper. And this time, entering turn 3, Peltier's going to go low.
Okay, there's the bid for the lead. Peltier down low. Thorne stuck off high to the line. Boy, still Thorne by a hair, but you got to figure that's going to change coming up here in a set of turns.
Yeah, no kidding. They're side by side battling so hard as Peltier might get pinched off by this lap car. We'll see how low John Lathrop Jr. goes as he's going to let him race side by side still. Derek carrying that outside momentum, going to keep it this time. He's going to run the outside again, see if he can keep Peltier pinched low enough as they come off the corner. Great shot right there as they go down into the front straightaway. And Peltier's going to get in the back of Thorne. What a save by the 43. Peltier almost just turned Derek Thorne as they go down to the corner, and then a caution in front of them. A couple cars, that looks like the 11 and the 18, Naaman Lang and Dustin Ash, but that was almost a really big moment with our race leaders as Preston Peltier had the back end of Derek Thorne jacked up down the front straightaway.
Interesting development and an interesting timing on the caution flag here. Let's get a look at one of our mini cameras on the replay. So we're going to eyeball it here coming into the corner, and yep, the two cars getting in together. There's your lead two coming into the corner behind them.
Yeah, so watch over the right of your screen, already spinning as it looked like Nema was giving up quite enough room on the bottom for the 11, but the 11 might have just missed entry on the corner, or maybe had something go wrong with the brakes. We'll ride on board here with Naaman Lang and see what it felt like from the inside of the cockpit. You can see the 11 car's front bumper or front right fender, and then you could feel it after that.
Around goes Nema and into the cloud of dust, but the car still rolls as side by side for the restart. It's Thorne on the outside, Peltier on the inside as they bring him back to green flag action. Down the front straightaway and into turn number 1. It sure looks like Peltier's got the nose going into the corner.
And it looked like someone, I think it might be the 08 of Jace Hansen, hit the wall on that restart. So that's going to stack up the rest of the line. Peltier able to get by Derek Thorne on the restart, though. So huge run there for Preston Peltier, being able to take over the race lead on this restart with 66 laps to go.
Give the lead to Peltier. This segment brought to you by Granite Construction. Granite Construction, the proud sponsor of our Super Sprint Car Series, and celebrating their 100th year in business. Granite Construction, an award-winning company, a great place to work. Find your dream job today at graniteconstruction.com.
And you'll be able to catch the Granite Super Sprint Cars in action next week on Home Track Heroes as they have a 30-lap main event with a ton of drivers coming into town in preps of the War of the Wings race that you'll see in the middle of August. But right now, Summer Showdown still have 64 laps to go for Preston Peltier, who was able to capture the race lead back on the restart over Derek Thorne. And the rest of your top guys that are on the lead lap really shaking up because Jace Hansen got onto the wall in that restart and he's fallen all the way back to 7th, the last car on the lead lap, and a little bit of damage there on the 08, I'm sure.
So move Taylor Riddle permanently into the 3rd spot, at least for the time being. Peltier, Thorne, Riddle with 63 laps left here in the Summer Showdown, and Boy, Peltier now starting to stretch that lead forward. We have got to take our final commercial break coming up here in just a couple of seconds.
Yep, so do not go anywhere as you'll see the thrilling conclusion here of the 2022 Summer Showdown brought to you by Tire Pros, as it's right now Preston Peltier, Derek Thorne, Taylor Riddle, and then the Buddy Shepard and Hayden Flybon round out your top 5.
Well, we're coming back into the cockpit of Trenton Moriarty with just 24 laps to go. Yeah, a little time travel happened there over the commercial break. You're watching Trenton get in and through here on Home Track Heroes. Caleb Hart, Kyler Hope in with you. And we're down to the nitty-gritty, Kyler. We are just about 20 laps left here in the Summer Showdown, and there's your leader, Preston Peltier.
Yep, and not much has happened in your top 3, but 4th place, Tyler Tanner was able to get around Hayden Flybon. So Tyler Tanner now knocking on the door of a podium finish, which would mean an extra $10,000 for him, but he's got to hunt down Taylor Riddle, as that's a tall task to handle right there. But right there, Preston Peltier able to keep about the same distance over Derek Thorne as we saw going into the break, and he's got another 22 laps before he is another $25,000 richer, which would be his 4th Summer Showdown win. If you can do the math right there, that's $100,000 he would have won over the course of these last 5 years.
It's a lot of cheese, and if not for a problem in the Pro Late model race, he'd have a whole bunch more sitting in his pocket, but he doesn't, and so be it.
Exactly, yeah. So there you see right there across your screen that white car, that was Tyler Tanner. Yes, he is about a quarter of a straight away, a corner, however you want to put it, until he catches the white number 15 of Taylor Riddle. So he's got to hurry a little bit as he needs to knock on that door for that extra bonus. There you see Taylor Riddle working his way around some heavy lap traffic. Chase Hansen right there, we saw had such a strong car, but unfortunately got into the wall on a restart, which we've seen happen so many times. Just the colder tire pressures and getting a little bit airtight and being lined up like that, it's hard to see your marks, and if you're on that outside line, it's really easy to get caught in that outside wall. We've seen it many times.
I even just saw a little scrape coming out from underneath that car going into the corner as well, so may not be whatever happened is completely fixed up, as there is a spark or two coming out. So that is really the story coming into the last little segment here, is Thorne's got a lot of ground to make up and not a lot of time to do it. The best potential of anything that's going to happen is going to be Tanner, if he can drive around those 2 slower cars in front of him, run down and pass Riddle here with just 19 to go. 1 down, and now coming up on Holman. Boy, visually he is making up a lot of space on this last lap.
Exactly, yeah, and it's really hard. I mean, it was we had a 30-lap run, and now it's about another 40 laps since we had that last restart, and Tyler Tanner had to come to the pit road to get whatever fix was at just after the halfway break, was able to get that car running right, and it's obviously running strong as he's able to drive through the field for a second time, and he is, like you said, visually really closing in on that 15 as he works his way around the JMI car of Tanner Holm, who's a couple laps down as well, but Tanner Holm, not Tyler Tanner. Tanner Holm doing a great job in his first asphalt race of the year. Just got that motor this week in the car, so hats off to that entire crew getting that car ready for one of the biggest races in the Northwest. And look at that. Tyler Tanner just blows by Taylor Riddle. It almost like someone had to go wrong on the 15 car entering that corner. That was unbelievable, the amount of ground the 65 had right there.
He made up 5 car lengths, like in the, just snap of a finger, and he was there. So $10,000 pass right there for Tyler Tanner. Put that into practical terms. There's 10 G's that he just drove by him for.
Wow, and the 15 car still dropping back, so I wonder if there might be something going south on that 15 car of Taylor Riddle as we look back up at your race leader, Preston Peltier. And Derek Thorne, he's within striking distance, I would say, with 15 to go. I mean, we've seen stranger things happen. We saw the 19 of Thomas Stanford get by both Tyler Tanner and Derek Thorne in a matter of 5 or 6 laps from a decent distance, so you never know what can happen here. A lap car comes and gets in the way, so it's not completely lost for Derek Thorne as he now has 14 to go at the line right here to try to hunt down Preston Peltier and finally get that evergreen monkey off his back.
Peltier gets past the 22 of Buddy Shepard, puts him in his rear view mirror. Now Thorne's got to get past him and do it in a hurry. Don't put anything past Derek Thorne, but the clock is working against him. And again, it's Preston Peltier, 3-time winner of this race that's sitting in front of him, and a guy who's really had Derek's number here at Evergreen Speedway.
Exactly, yeah. And we saw the heavy contact that they had on a couple of different restarts, actually one in the first 100, one in the second 100, so they might not play nice when it comes down to the end of this if Derek Thorne is able to catch him. And it looks like maybe whatever issues Taylor Riddle had, he's able to get him back together because he starts starts closing that gap now on the 65 with Tyler Tanner. So whatever was going south on the 50 or that 15 machine, it looks like he's got it figured out because he is rolling now and really closing that gap for that third place. And once back on the podium.
I wonder if that was a matter of strategy too. Okay, let him go, let him go, let him go. Okay, go. Try to get him here at the very end and see if he had worn out his stuff to catch up to him and get around him. I don't know. We don't have a clue into these spotter channels or what these drivers are thinking. If we did, we would be very rich men, but not so much as that battle has gotten better with just 12 left.
Yep, exactly. Now 11 to go as the leaders cross start finish line. That's how big the gap is between first and second and then third and fourth place. So it would take a caution for Tyler Tanner to really catch these top two and have a shot to improve any more on position. But it looks like it's pretty solidly in Peltier's hands. As I say that, Derek Thorne really gets a good turn 3 and 4 and closes that gap quite a bit.
Yeah, Peltier's better corners 1 and 2 between the two of them. Thorne way better in 3 and 4, but it's the time factor right now that's really hurting Derek Thorne. Thorne has 10 laps, not just to close this distance, but get back by him, and it's going to be a tall task. Now watch him again. In through 3 and 4, Peltier's in the black with white 48, Thorne in the multicolored number 43, and there is slower traffic looming.
Exactly. That's some pretty fast lap traffic right in front, so whoever's able to get through it cleaner is definitely going to walk away with this. As they were side by side momentarily, he's going to catch Gunnarsson kind of at a wrong spot. Peltier's going to have to go low and kind of kill a little bit of momentum off the corner. So the first lap car, I'd say, give a little bit more of an advantage to Derek Thorne. Now he's got Trent Moriarty, and that's Hayden Plybon, who sits, I believe, in the 5th place, right not that far in front of him as well. So definitely shows how strong these drivers are of Peltier and Thorne.
I don't want to bring this up again for fear of commentators' curse, but if you'll remember when the Pro Late Model wreck happened that Peltier got taken out in, or that his race ended in, it was Moriarty right in front of him when that happened, with a white and orange car right in front of Moriarty when that happened. So
that is all very true.
Let's see how this all goes down. Looking down to the low side, Peltier gets underneath Moriarty, and here comes Thorne. Thorne's within 3 car lengths now.
Yeah, Derek got through 1 and 2 really well that time, and then he's going to catch Moriarty just a little bit of a wrong spot down the back straightaway. Shouldn't have killed too much momentum, and now it's Hayden Plybon. See how hard he's going to race the leaders as Peltier looks to his inside. Almost a little bit of contact between the two as he washes up off the corner, but he's able to get by Plybon fairly quickly. Let's see how quickly Derek Thorne's able to get by. Looks like Hayden Plybon's going to do the nice thing and pull out a line. Hey, these are the 2 leaders. Let's let them race here at the end as we close in on just 5.5 laps to go here on the monster 5/8 mile of Evergreen Speedway. Thorne, it's so close. It's got to be so frustrating for him just being that close. You can almost taste it, but just can't quite get to the back bumper of Peltier.
If you're one of those slower cars, you don't want to be the guy who has to explain your actions to a guy who just lost the lead because something went wrong. So I appreciate both of those drivers kind of understanding where they are in the race, and at that point in time, as Peltier looks like he had stretched a little bit more this time by.
Yeah, got off the corner really well off turn number 2 down the back straightaway, like you mentioned. He seems to be the better car between the two through 1 and 2, and is able to open up that gap a lot more. As we saw, Derek Thorne probably get within maybe 4 or 5 car lengths at the best, but just couldn't quite get any closer than that as they share the screen, barely able to fit them both on as they go down the back straightaway into turns 3 and 4. This time by the line, just 3 more times around. Press Peltier, he just hopes there's no caution because it doesn't look like any lap cars are going to have anything to do with it, as it's pretty clean green track in front of them.
If I was sitting in Preston's spot right now, I would be obsessively looking at the gauges, making sure that nothing is getting weird, nothing's getting too high. I'd be hearing every little rattle, every little bump, on top of trying to hit my marks getting into the corner. Because right now, as it sits, only mechanical failure should be able to stop Preston.
Exactly, yeah, it's coming this time. Just 2 more times around for Preston Peltier, looking to become the $100,000 man at Evergreen Speedway, picking up his 4th Summer Showdown title. Just has a lap and a half to go now down the back straightaway. That 48 car looks untouchable as Derek Thorne's not even in the picture anymore.
Nope, it is Peltier's world. We're all just living in it. 5/8 of a mile remain. Peltier looking for Showdown win number 4 at the white flag.
White flag is in the air from head flagger John Peterson, and looks like it's going to be all Preston Peltier here in the 2022 Summer Showdown, brought to you by Tire Pros. Down the back straightaway into turn 3 for the final time. Preston Peltier looks to become the 4-time winner of the Summer Showdown off of turn number 4.
And he has got it. checkered flag is out. Peltier wins the showdown for the 4th time. Second to Thorne, and an extra 10 grand for him for coming up in podium, as well as another 10 grand for Tyler Tanner for getting the job done himself. This segment has been brought to you by Interstate Batteries for all your battery needs, cars, trucks, vans, or electric vehicles. Interstate Batteries is your one-stop for flashlights, cell phones, even key fob batteries. Visit Interstate Batteries in Everett as you get a look at Peltier.
Yeah, Brett Peltier rolling off at turn number 4 right here. Derek Thorne behind them. I mean, it's a great race between the two. We saw some really hard racing, and it would have been entertaining to see what could have happened and how hard Derek Thorne would have pushed Peltier at the end of that, because there was definitely some questionable contact between the two, but at the end of the day, Peltier came out on top over Derek Thorne. And like you mentioned, Derek Thorne and Tyler Tanner both started at the back of the pack, both picking up an extra $10,000 each added on top of their payouts for this race, but it's still not going to match the $25K that the 48 of Press Peltier brought home. And last year was the first year of the Double Down Showdown with the option of drivers going to the back trying to race their way forward. We didn't see anyone do it that time. This year we see 2 of them do it.
Fantastic racing for those drivers this weekend, and fantastic by your feature winner. Interested to see what his thoughts about the whole deal is going to be as he gets unstrapped from the car. Safety gear coming off. Takes a little while to get unstrapped from these super late models, as here comes the crew out to celebrate with him.
Oh yeah, not only does it take a little bit while, they also just did 200 laps around a very, very hot night at Evergreen Speedway for the Summer Showdown, brought to you by Tire Pros. So they're definitely going to be fatigued climbing out, but there he is, Preston Peltier, Derek Thorne shaking hands after the race, as it's got to be bittersweet for Derek Thorne coming home 2nd place again. Tyler Tanner comes home 3rd, but we'll throw it on down to the podium.
All right, the Nature Boy, Derek Todoroff, has got the interviews.
All right, Preston, ran a good show there, dominated this race, started in the front, led a lot of the laps out there. What was the secret to this number 48 car?
Man, just raw speed. This P1 chassis just got raw speed all the time, and I really got to thank Angel of the Winds for putting us up. Every year we stay up there. It's a great place to stay, and I love racing here up in the Northwest. I wish we could do it more. He has a ranch up here not far from here, so maybe we'll get to do that even more, and I hope you all enjoyed the race. You know, we raced hard and tried to put on a good show, and we'll see you next year.
Had that battle with the 43 of Derek Thorne. Walk us through that as the mid-break was coming up.
Well, it got a little rough on one of those restarts. He ran us way up the racetrack a good bit, and me and him, we have this tit for tat. You know, when we were racing each other, it's no holds barred and rough as nails, and he's really good, and I want to beat him and he wants to beat me, and that's just a result of it. And maybe 20 years from now we're gonna look back and laugh and we'll probably be good friends.
Have anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Generator Martin, Generator Source, and like I said, Angel in the Winds, Tilton Swift, Buzzy Rear Ends, man, Peters Motors. Well, those things are incredible. So that's pretty much it.
You had another great race tonight, same place as last night, driving that 43 machine, taking it here. How does that feel?
Just proud of the guys. We had to come from the back there that first run, but car kind of went away from us there towards the end of the first 100. And Mike and all these guys have worked so hard. All these guys at Camel Motorsports, all of our sponsors, to have them here, their support, for us to be able to travel like we're doing and come around and hit these big races. The Hobbs family for this facility, the payouts they're putting up, the fans, you guys here. I always enjoy coming up here. First class facility, first class people. Unfortunately, I feel like after coming here, I think 6 or 7 years, I feel like a bridesmaid's just kind of in our cards sometimes.
Never mind, you covered that already. Did a fantastic job out there on the 43 machine. Planning on coming back next year?
We'll see. It's a long ways from now. We'll just kind of get through. Our next race will be the All-American 400 in Nashville and the Derby. We'll focus on those and make the most of it, and then look forward to next year.
Started from the back, made your way forward. You fought for every inch of ground you gained, and and then tragically had that issue there right after the break. But you fought your way back to third. Not an easy fight. How was it for you?
Not the way we wanted it to go. We can't complain too much. I guess we have third place in everything this weekend, qualifying both cars and racing both cars. I guess we're just third place this weekend. But yeah, I think our car was really good the first half. We drove all the way up to second there, and we were pretty confident, but kind of an anomaly that never happened. The valve cover studs broke off. The thing was leaking oil. We got a scab back together, thankfully, before they went green and got back out and got to third. So we never quit and still got the bonus. So I guess that's positive.
You made the travel out here from North Carolina. You still intend to do that next year?
Yeah, I mean, next year's a long ways from now, but we've been to 10 out of 10 of these races and still haven't won one. One of these days, hopefully the luck kind of goes in our direction, but we're going to keep trying.
Have anyone you'd like to thank for tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. First and foremost, my parents. Without them, none of this would have happened. So it was kind of a last-minute decision to do this. They work really hard to keep me racing, and I appreciate that. So it's a lot of hours in the shop to do what we do, and you know, I'm a little dejected. I think we could have done better, but just sometimes the cards don't fall right, and that's what happened tonight. But AST Floors, they're a big supporter of us. Magnus Performance, Joe's Racing Products, Joe Roaster, so many people to thank. Just glad we could finish the thing.
Well, Kyler, that's it. Showdown's done. It was great. Is it next year yet?
Yeah, seriously. I mean, I can't wait for more 5/8 racing, which you guys will be able to come to out in person August 20th. The ARCA Series will be here for 150 laps around the 5/8 mile, and it's the 1000th ARCA West race, so that's kind of a big deal here at Evergreen Speedway. And then on that night, you also have the Central Welding Supply 125, where pro late models will be back in action on the 3/8 mile, so definitely going to want to come out for that. But next week, you're going to want to be here. Well, it's a full weekend of sprint cars, so you're going to be in heaven, because on Saturday night, you can come out in person and watch the War of the Wings, 5,000 to win for the sprint cars. And then on Sunday, you can watch the last sprint car race, which was a good one. We had a lot of cars come out for it, so you're definitely going to want to tune in CW11 and watch the sprint cars right here.
That's right. It's the Thunder and Lightning division, the fastest cars you're going to see all year. Here come the sprint cars back. I'm stoked. I'm ready for it. We've had so much fun the last 2 weeks with the Summer Showdown, but back to a little bit of normalcy coming here forward. It's been fun, Kyler, and again, we can't thank Tire Pros enough. Those guys have really stepped up and helped us get the Showdown off, and thank you again.
Exactly, yeah. I know you say we go back to normalcy, then right after that we get fair time. After ARCA, we go into fair. So fair, gonna want to come out. We got monster trucks, we got boats, we got buses, we got everything.
Scones.
Exactly, yep. Thank you so much for tuning in here on CW11. We will see you guys next week.
Thanks for watching Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11. Join us next week for more great racing from Evergreen Speedway.